All right. Oh, my back. Bless Jesus. Woo, woo. Laptop all fluffy and shit. All right, y'all. We ready to go. We ready to go. How you doing, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to This and That. I'm your host, Xander, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between. Uh, Today we're going to be talking about what is a good friend. And before I want to get started on that, I want to tell you guys to make sure that you like and subscribe, join the membership. Make sure if you are enjoying the topic while we're talking about the topic, you can hit that like button. For those of you that are on TikTok, I want y'all to know that y'all can hit that subscription button on the bottom right side. If you hit that subscription button, you can join our podcast on YouTube. You can still bounce back over to TikTok, but you'll be able to be notified about our podcast whenever we go live. It gives you like a 30-minute notice, and then it also gives you another "hey, they're live" kind of thing, as opposed to TikTok that just tells you that we're live. In addition to that, make sure that you check out our membership store as we get started this morning or this evening. We'll be able to ride into the. Good to see you guys. Everybody's coming in at the same time. We'll be able to show you the membership that we have that leads you to the discounts from our merchandise store. We have affiliate content that we should have rolling across the screen for those of you that are looking at us from YouTube. So we have just about everything you can think of. If I could find a discount or a promo or something like that you guys might be able to benefit from, I kind of throw it up there on the podcast. So definitely check that out on the YouTube side of things. For those of you that are on Twitch and Twitter and YouTube, you guys have the opportunity of being able to click the link in the comment section that I'm putting up there right now, and that will give you guys the ability to click the link and come onto the show live and be able to put your 2 cents in. For those of you that are on TikTok, I do believe that there's a button that you can push to request to come up onto the screen, because I have to stream this from 2 different locations at the same time. So the funny thing is that I'm not able to send links to everywhere at the same. And then TikTok is like a scrolling comment section, so it's kind of hard to say that you guys can log in and see something that I had put into the comment section before you guys got into the comment section. So I just want you guys to know that it is an interactive live podcast. You can join in whenever you want to upon request, and I'll be able to throw you guys in there. It must be 18 or older to be live on a podcast, because it is adult content, at times adult language. So just want to make sure that you guys know that. Let's see, we are live 7 days a week, 9 Eastern, 8 Central, 5 Pacific. So stay tuned every day of the week. Sometimes we do some gender inequality and relationship-based topics over the weekend, and our members only on Sunday, where we do more responding to comments that we have encountered from the fans, and then interactions between the fans and my conceptual opinions of those comments and questions. So as far as I know, oh yeah, I just thought about it. So there is the opportunity for showing some love to the podcast. We have super likes, super emojis, super comments, special things on YouTube. I know you guys, there's a tip out thing on TikTok and Twitter where you guys can throw a little something to the podcast, be it a rose, be it a object of some sort. Through any little tidbit does help support the podcast so that we can provide you guys a better quality podcast. Now, TikTok, we are trying to get to some high levels, because we're trying to get ourselves a stream key here. So for those of you that are on the podcast and you're kind of enjoying yourself on the podcast once it gets underway, please follow us, and that'll help us get our stream key. We have our goal there of 100,000, but technically we need like around 10,000. But overachiever is what we do here. So since we are a very new podcast, we haven't been around a lot, haven't streamed a lot until this past month. We have a very low followership, so we're trying to build up our followership as we do the live podcast. So make sure that you guys show us some support, and then we'll be able to do a better job of interacting everybody, because once I get the stream key, I can put all of you guys on the same platform, and then everybody gets the same information at the same time. But I can also stream it across the bottom. So Special thanks to those of you that are following me from TikTok, Twitch, and Twitter that are long-term followers, and then those of you on YouTube that have consistently come every week. Let's go ahead and get this topic underway. We are talking about, like I said before, we're talking about good friends, and we're going to be talking about the factors that identify good friends. So, first, because I understand that we call people friends specifically because they are not our enemies. So if they're not sabotaging our success and pissing us off and causing us physical negative bodily harm, we typically call them friends. However, we do have friends that piss us off. We do have friends that sabotage our success. We do have friends that compromise our best interests. But for some reason, those friends stay friends. So we have to remember that before we start identifying and really gauging what is a good friend. Now, once we start identifying what levels of, because we have different levels for this shit. So we have to recognize what really is a good friend first and foremost. So we have those acquaintances. The acquaintances are considered friends if we see them more than once, but they're not actually really friends. They're just somebody that we know in passing. They don't really know us from Adam. They don't actually probably even know our name, much less anything about us. We try to downplay social engagement and consider somebody an acquaintance, even though we have been aware of their existence for an extended period of time, because that person does not positively impact your agenda and you do not want other people to negatively perceive your relationship with that person, especially if that person doesn't hold you to a higher level of regard. It's kind of a save face kind of situation. I personally don't have acquaintances because, I mean, you don't really acknowledge them in passing. You just pass them. Some people do keep track of their acquaintances and try to hold their acquaintances to a certain quantity. So, but that's going to be more of a self entitlement kind of situation, to downplay the relationship that you have with somebody. And a lot of people are going to get acquaintance conflicted with and confused with a locational friend or a situational friend. So locational friends are people who know of you. They don't know everything about you. They just know of you in that location or in that specific type of situation. Locational friends are friends that you formulate bonds with in that location. Your relationship does not span outside of that location. So a locational friend is like work friends, bar friends, club friends, hunting friends, bowling friends, stuff to that effect. Whenever you're performing an activity in this location, those people are always there at the same time you're there, and you guys formulate friendships in those locations. And those locational friends also, you guys can sometimes vent to about your personal lives outside of that location, and you guys can kind of provide each other with emotional support. So you do formulate an actual friendship. However, some people consider it more of an acquaintance at times, because you guys don't really know each other beyond what you say to each other about yourselves and what you observe about each other in that location. Situational friends are also individuals that you only engage in certain situations. Situational friends are friends such as drinking buddies, smoking buddies, hangout buddies, stuff to that effect, party buddies, the people that you only engage in those situations. If you get in trouble a lot, the road dog or ride or die buddy that always shows up, and when they show up, you're getting in trouble that day. Those buddies, those are the kind of situational friends. So you guys only encounter each other when you're in that situation. Now, when you're not interested in being involved in that situation, you and that person doesn't meet up. A lot like a locational friend, if you are not willing to go to that location, you and that person doesn't meet up. So this level of friendship, you can formulate bonds with the situational friend the same way you can formulate bonds with the locational friend, because you guys will be able to bond and socially interact with one another in those situations. But outside of those situations, you are not able to formulate any level of interaction. Now, above that, above your work friends, your locational friends, you have your social groups, which are like mild levels of friends. These are people that you would be able to hang out with on a regular basis, probably like for those of you that are still in college, or those of you that are 18, 19 years old, in your senior year of high school, which technically it's a locational friend, but your locational friend becomes a little bit more than a locational friend when you are able to hang out with that friend in multiple locations. So your situational friend could be misperceived as something more than a locational friend or a situational friend, because that situation isn't limited to one location. But if you think about it, if the only time you hang out with this person is when you're drinking beers or drinking liquor, and you don't feel like drinking liquor, you're not necessarily hanging out with that friend. But you'll understand that there are times where your situational friend, your drinking buddy, might invite you over for drinks. You're not interested in drinking alcohol, but you might still go over there and hang out just to get out of the house or get away from your spouse, so that you can kind of vent, cool off, something to that effect. So again, that kind of in between an acquaintance and kind of a little bit more than a friend, because that situational friend, you can actually broaden the relationship horizon with that. The turnabout, though, is that like work friends and bar friends and other locational friends, when you start interacting with them in different areas, you start becoming more than just locational friends, and it is more easily recognized that you are more than just locational friends, and then you're able to spread that friendship throughout more areas of your life. That is typically you're probably at this point, because on a scale from 1 to 10, an acquaintance probably would be a 1, and then your situational and locational friends would be around about a 2, and then you're a little bit more than that. Your friendships or social engagements that are on a regular basis, that's not limited to a specific location or a specific situation, might be somewhere in the area of about a 3 out of 10. Now, that friend that you're going to be able to confide in and you're going to be able to tell your deepest, darkest secrets to, that person that you're going to be able to tell like things that could compromise your position in society, that is going to be the type of friend that is going to be the type of friend that is probably going to be like a 4. You count on this friend if they are not telling those secrets. You're counting on this friend to get advice from or vent to, and that is still somewhere around about a 4. Now, you have on the 5th tier is that hold me down kind of friend. When you have situations that are starting to go awry, you start trying to reach out to get a little bit of an aid. You have that friend that might be able to slide you a couple bucks here and there. You might have that friend that might be able to show you where to go to get you an extra side hustle. Or if you're changing jobs, he might be able to give you a little bit of insight on how to find better occupations. And they're providing you with this advice and this information based on the information that you have confided in them. So they got to be like a 3 or a 4 to tell you that they're going through some shit, so that you can tell them what to do to get out of that shit. So, that's when you're looking at round about a tier 5 friend out of 10. Now, let's be honest. Nobody's going to be a perfect 10. Nobody's going to be a perfect 10. There's always going to be room for error, because you've got those friends with piss poor attitudes. Everything else about them is great, but they just don't talk to you with the same level of dialogue that you would prefer to be talked to. So you have to understand that that there are some things where you will say, well, he's great at other things, but he just don't talk to me the way I prefer to be talked to. stuff like that. And you might call that like a -1 or something like that, depending on your level of integrity versus your demand for respect versus how much respect you feel like you receive. So you might say that's a -2 or a -3. It depends on your perspective of things. But just for example, I would say that even if the person meets the whole criteria that I would be laying out here, you might find fault in that person. And by finding fault in that person, you might say, well, he ain't a perfect friend. And that's the reason why we're talking about the difference between a good friend and a bad friend. Now, when we start getting into the level 6 and level 7 areas, you start talking about friends that are involved in your deep personal life. These are the ones that are going to be working alongside you with financial situations. They're going to be ones, and this isn't just somebody that just slides you a couple bucks. This might be somebody that might bail you out of jail, grab you a couple loans. And I understand that situational friends can bail you out of jail because if they cause you to go to jail, they'll get you out. If they cause your car to get impounded, they'll get it out. That's just taking responsibility for your actions. It's not the same. This is a situation where they told you not to do it. You did it anyway. You got yourself in some trouble that you can't get yourself out of, and now you need a few bucks to get yourself out of some trouble. You're looking at like a tier 6, tier 7 kind of friend, because they knew that this was going to happen and they prepared for it, and they still provided you with some financial relief in order to get out of that scenario. Now, it stems to reason that now we're starting to deal with friends that are a little bit more in depth, because these friends know everything about your personal life. They know most things about you, at least over the last extended period of time that you guys have known each other, years, decades even. And they've been with you through your good days. They've been with you through your bad days. They've been with you through your bad habits. They've been with you through your pet peeves. And they work around trying not to deliberately piss you off while working with trying to help you through your shit. So these are going to be your friends that are going to be your level 7, level 8 friends. Now, your level 7 and level 8 friends are going to be the kind of friends that are going to provide you with more guidance and wisdom. Instead of just allowing you to fuck your life up, they're going to be the ones that are going to be trying to tell you how to keep from fucking your life up. They're going to be the ones to give you that positive advice. They're going to be the ones that are not going to condone bad behavior. They're going to be the ones that are going to try to steer you out of chaos. Now, they're also going to be the bearers of bad news. They're going to be the ones that's going to tell you the things that you don't like. They're going to be the ones that's going to tell you the things that you don't want to hear. And that's going to mean that you are going to be in a very shitty scenario before you can get yourself out of that shitty scenario. And your friend's going to tell you, well, I told you so, but I'm coming to get you. That's going to be your level 7 or level 8 kind of friend. And I say 7 or 8 because it's about like a 7.5. Now you're 8.5, so it's like 7, like an 8 or a 9 kind of friend. Your 8 or 9 kind of friend is going to be trying to help you get your life together. They're going to be the ones that are going to be the toughest on you. They're going to be like family. They're going to be the kind of friend that's going to be telling you when you're fucking up. They're going to be the ones that's going to tell you when you're doing stupid shit. And that's not the same. When you're fucking up, like you're literally destroying your life. You are making bad life choices that are going to have negative consequences. When you're doing stupid shit, you're making an ass out of yourself unnecessarily in situations where you didn't have to behave that way. Poor choices like getting involved with people that you should not be involved with. After they said, hey, don't get involved with them. Those are going to be your good friends. Your better friends that are more 9s than 8s. They're going to be the ones that's going to help you improve your life. So if they know that there's a dream or a vision or a goal that you're trying to accomplish in your life, they'll invest time, effort, and sometimes even resources into trying to make your life better, into trying to make you achieve your goal. So if they're trying to aid you in achieving your goal, if you are going to ride with them, then they'll do the best they can to help you get there. Those are going to be your level 8 and level 9 friends. Those are going to be your good friends, your great friends, your best friends, the ones that are going to be there for you. Like if you're trying to get that promotion, they're going to tell you, well, you should probably stop smoking weed because they're going to drug test you for your promotion. And if you Fail the drug test, they're going to fire you on your job kind of situation. They're going to be the ones that's going to tell you that, don't make certain choices. Go get you a degree to improve your position, to get a manager position. They're going to tell you to don't drive drunk, don't race your car, so that you don't get those tickets and get those DUIs. They're going to be the ones to tell you things that you don't want to hear, like the person you're dating is not good for you because the person that you're dating has bad intentions, and they can see those bad intentions. They heard something, they've seen something that you're not willing to accept because you're blinded by the way you feel in this situation. And that is the reason why you are not able to perform that task. So now that we're gauging, now that I've gone through it, we're right about a level 9 or a level. And you say, well, if on a scale from 1 to 10, you went through 9 of them, what would 10 be? What would the bestest of best friends be? Well, I told you, nobody's perfect. If the unicorn friend would be the one that never pisses you off, that never gets under your skin in any way, shape, or form, that is always there for you, always self-sacrificing for you, always putting you before them, always going the extra mile for you, never complaining about it, never failing. And that unicorn style friend is a fabrication of reality, because the truth dictates that they're gonna complain, they're gonna bitch about something, they're going to hesitate, they're not always going to show up, they're going to invest in you, and then they're going to remind you that they invested in you. They're going to bring it up. Now, bad friends are going to be the ones that are going to bring up the fact that they looked out for you in front of other people, putting you on a spot, making it seem like you're not able to do for yourself, making it seem like you're not physically capable of taking care of you, much less anybody else. Bad friends are going to be people that are going to block you. Those are going to be the ones that are going to really say negative things about you, sometimes to your face, but more often than not behind your back in front of other people, where your integrity has been compromised by what would be perceived as a character witness. Because if you identify them as a quote unquote best friend, but for some reason this quote unquote best friend has nothing positive to say about you, you typically look like a piece of shit in that particular scenario, which is one of the reasons why your closest friends are primarily your worst enemy, because they are the ones that could destroy your integrity. They could destroy your opportunities. They can cock block you on relationships. They can interfere with your success. The closer your friend is, the more that you trust them, the more access to your personal life you give them. They start ending up with keys to your cars, keys to your houses, code to the safe, information to your credit and debit cards, bank account information. You guys start doing joint stuff together. They might go in on a loan with you. They might cover some of your bills. You might cover some of their bills. They might be riding one of your bills on their credit card for a while, and then when they get mad at you, they'll cut you off. There's all kinds of stuff, because the more you trust your friend to float you, the more your friend has the ability to stab you in the back, or betray you, or throw you under the bus in ways where you were not expecting to be thrown under the bus, which compromises your ability to be successful. And then it vastly sells you out. So you have to recognize that while it's good to have close friends and it's good to be a good friend, you have to have a mutual level of respect for one another, which requires you to be able to carry yourself to the same magnitude that you're expecting your friend to carry themselves. So you want to be able to recognize and show respect to your friend for the things that he or she does with you and the things that they do for you, so that while you are showing them that respect and that appreciation for being a good friend to you, that you are also reciprocating that with some level of good friend behavior. So kind of wanted to throw that in there while we're on the topic. So how do we know that a person is being a good friend, or if a person is just using us and just being nice to us to some degree? Well, as I've said before on the show, when it comes down to interactions with relationships, a good friendship, just like a good relationship, is going to be a symbiotic relationship. You are going to benefit from your friend the same way your friend is going to benefit from you, not necessarily on an equal platform financially or an equal platform effort wise, but it will be some form of uniformity and some form of balance. Now, if you guys were on the show yesterday, as a matter of fact, we did a hefty 4-hour podcast about uniformity, and it wasn't starting off about uniformity. It was about good or bad, good and evil, and the concepts behind it. And there was some interesting dynamics that we came from, because the guest on the show yesterday stated that the concepts that I was putting out were not uniform, because if I changed a variable such as the person involved in the scenario, that the scenario is exactly the same, but there's just somebody different in the scenario, that it is the scenario having the exact same outcome is not uniform. And I had to explain to him for quite a while that, uniformity is the exact same thing happening the exact same way every time, regardless of who's involved in that situation. The situation doesn't change. The expectations of the outcome does not change. If it is considered right, then the uniform expectation is that if that action is considered right, that action is always considered right, no matter who performs the action. If the outcome is considered a good outcome, then the outcome is always a good outcome, no matter who is impacted by the outcome. And when we start going over these concepts of uniformity, what you do to your friend is what you would expect your friend to do to you. And this is where we come from, the bro code with loyalty, where you're not sleeping with your homeboy's girl, you're not sleeping with his ex, especially when they just broke up. Because I mean, if they were trying to get back together, if they were just on a break, because I mean, this generation with breaks, man, you guys hit the pause button on that social interaction like y'all are playing fucking Atari. It makes no sense. But when people break up for a little bit, you're not supposed to capitalize on smashing this girl. There should be inherently off limits. Now, I understand that if you've got one of those friends that kind of gets around a block quite a bit, part of the bro code, and you guys have the same social group, so you're probably interacting with a lot of the females that your partner's interacting with, and you actually wanted to get with that girl and he got with her first. It does happen. And in those situations, if in the event that you were trying to get with one of those girls after he's finished with that girl because he's moved on 3 or 4 girls down the line, you might feel like it's okay to go after that girl. But if that girl frequently hooks back up with him over the months or the years, they're still kind of involved in a little something. And our first guest on the show. So we have Mr. Peppz popping up out of yeah. So you have this face here. What is up with your face besides the extremely large shadow?
What do you mean? It's my face?
Oh, okay. So today we were talking about the not relationship. We were talking about friendships. I was actually talking about the relationship aspect of friendships. So while I was talking about that, I explained the different levels of friendships and stuff to that effect. I had gone into,
yeah.
Huh? What was that?
I said, oh yeah, that still falls in the boundaries of friendship. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. Because interaction between friendships actually is so what a lot of people don't understand is that friendships is a form of relationships. That's a platonic friendship. And there is an emotional bond there on the same level as relationships, where friends do come together and they start intertwining one another's lives together, and then being able to deal with each other's bullshit and actually causing each other a lot of bullshit, and then making sacrifices for one another and getting on each other's fucking nerves. So I was actually segueing into that when you spontaneously joined into the show. So since I've already had it, do you want me to restate the levels of friendship, or do you have something that you want to throw in here before I continue?
Since you are talking about that type of friendship, I'm gonna let you finish, and then I'll jump in. And I'm so sorry, guys, for showing up late. I'm not gonna lie, I overslept.
Oh
I
no, I
took a quick
mean
nap, but
it. Anybody can come to the
I
show whenever the show is live. So I try my best to host a show live on time at 9 Eastern, 8 Central, 5 Pacific. So make sure that you stay tuned whenever the show goes live. But I mean, whenever you get in here because I mean, I try my best to at least run a podcast for about an hour. But you know, if I can run it 2-3 hours, then I will. But yeah, you're technically never too late for an already existing live podcast to jump in as one of the guests. So what I was saying was to to dive in as oh no, not dive in to where was I at? Symbiotic relationships, right? So
yes,
we were
yes.
talking about the difference between a good friend that an actual good friend versus those friends that are pretending like friends that are actually more using you than actually being a good friend to you. That was the level that I was at. And in that area, you understand that when you're getting less out of the deal than what your friend is getting out of the deal, that's when you start understanding the difference between a real friend versus a friend, a person that is there personifying themselves as a friend, but for the most part are just trying to get something out of you. You typically see this with females that put you into the friend zone. They typically don't contribute as much to you, but they definitely lean on you for a lot of stuff. You don't typically see this between same-sex friendships because, I mean, in the opposite-sex friendships, there's typically a more in-depth emotional attachment between the two parties where typically the guy is more infatuated with the girl than the girl is infatuated with the guy, but he's not able to act on those feelings. So in those situations, the guy is more willing to provide more mid-level and top tier friendship style behavior without the requirement for reciprocation. And that is the issue. The biggest issue when you start recognizing and feeling like you're being used by your friend is because the lack of expectation for reciprocation in a true friendship, because your homie's going to catch you back on the end if you got the kind of good friends that if they ask of you for something that they're going to pay you back at spades. Sometimes it just takes an eventually to occur, but eventually they get you back. Or if you end up in a bind before they are able to get you back and you call them and tell them that you're in a bind, they will go the extra mile to take care of you to make sure that you're not falling off because you did them a favor. Typically, the strengthening of friendships is coming from sacrifice from one another. So the more often that you sacrifice yourself for the other person, and the more that they equivocally sacrifice themselves for you, and it's not going to be weighed on a balanced scale, but it is going to be somewhat of a tit for tat with sacrifices, where somebody might do 2 or 3 sacrifices, the other one might come back with 1 or 2 sacrifices. One person might do 1 huge sacrifice, the other one might do 4 small sacrifices. It's a teetering thing based off of the needs of the 2 different friends, because they could be on 2 different social levels, they could be on 2 different financial levels. And again, like I said before Mr. Bibbs joined us on the show today, it is a symbiotic situation. So if you are benefiting from one another, even if it is not on an equal platform, you are getting what you need out of the friendship and your friend is getting what they need out of the friendship, then you guys are in a situation where you're potentially trying to better each other. Hopefully when you have a positive friendship, because you do have those negative friendships where you're not trying to better each other, you're just, existing. So I know Ms. Bibbs wanted to say something on the show, so we'll go ahead and give him the opportunity to kind of to take a swing at this, and then we'll go over some concepts. So what do you have to throw into that, Mr. Bibbs?
Okay. Um, Throughout my time on this earth, I always had this one concept that I always have when I have friends. The less you have, the better. And I say this term not loosely because it is beneficial to have less friends. Because if you claim everyone that as your friend, let's say you just walk up to one person and they just started you guys just started talking for not even for a whole day, just for 5 to 10 minutes, and you click and it works. And then the next day, he asks you for can I borrow some money, and you say, okay, yeah, sure, why not? I know him a little bit, so I pass it on. And then he does that, and then he saws that, oh hey, I trust you. He thinks, oh, he trusts me, I can probably be his friend, or I can be gullible, and he can be gullible enough, I can just go to him for money every single time. And when it's time, and then he does that every single day until there's a time where it's about time you need that same see that same generosity, but he doesn't provide that to you. He said, well, why do I have to give you money when you were so generous enough to give me money? That's your policy. That's not my policy. I don't have to follow your policy of giving money. And then it's not like we were friends. We only met for a single few minutes.
That sounds oddly specific.
Like that's my life experience. That's that I noticed it and I experienced it. It happens. Not gonna lie to you, some people are gonna do that. Even though you show kindness to someone, you can give and give, but if they're not gonna show that same reciprocation of kindness, then they were never your friends. That's why when someone tells me, "Hey, is that your friend?" I said, "No, that's my associate." If I don't know you for as long as I know Xander, I don't call you my friend. I even shortened my friendships.
I would be fair to say that your associates and your acquaintances are not people that you are supposed to be lending money to. That would probably be the other half of this concept, is to really divulge the entitlements of certain tiers of social interaction, because associates and acquaintances are people that you are aware of in passing. As I explained at the beginning of the show, they are not people that you really know much about. And those are the people that you are not supposed to be handing money to. Now, I'm not gonna go through all of the tiers, but just for the sake of what you're explaining right here, locational friends and situational friends are going to be individuals where you know a decent amount about them in that location based on what they've told you, but you guys do not interact with one another outside of that location. And situational friends are individuals that you interact with in that particular type of situation, and you know a lot about each other because of your interactions with each other inside of that situation. But when you're not involved in that situation, you guys are not involved. A situational friend is like a drinking buddy, a smoking buddy, something like that. If you guys race cars together, go bowling together, go fishing together, and that's the only time y'all hang out is when you're performing that activity, whatever personal stuff you share about each other is in line with establishing a friendship, but you guys aren't that close. You should not be really talking about sharing your resources with someone until they're like a tier 4 kind of friend, and that puts you at a tier 5, but they would have to be like a tier 4 kind of friend. Acquaintances and associates are like tier 1. They should not even be getting your time of day. Locational friends and situational friends are like a tier 2 kind of situation, and they segue into a unrestricted friend, which is a mild level friend, which is a tier 3 friend, where you guys kind of hang out with each other in different situations in different places. You typically segue into this from a locational friend or a situational friend, you guys start extending to phone calls, text messages, and meeting up in different areas and different situations outside of your original situation and original location. But you end up in the tier 4 level when you guys start having those deep levels of trust with one another about the stuff that you confide in. Individuals voluntarily bailing you out of a bind versus you actually having to ask them for help with a bind, where you guys were having a talk. You were talking about you're in the middle of some shit that you're trying to get yourself out of, and your locational friend or situational friend or your somewhat we're kind of starting to do more things in more places kind of friend listens to you gripe about the stuff that's going wrong in your life, and they say, you know what, I there's a way that I can help you with that. That first volunteering of a sacrifice moves them into the tier 4, tier 5 level, where they're able to aid you in a problem, whether they're giving you advice or they're offering you some form of resources or the information to go and acquire those resources. And that leads you guys to being able to aid one another back and forward. So they provide aid to you, and then when you realize that they need aid, you voluntarily provide aid to them. That's when y'all fall into like a tier 5 level. So if you are providing a tier 1 person with tier 5 treatment, you are really not setting your standards and your non-negotiable expectations for behavior with your friends, because you are not establishing a foundation with them long before you start forking over cash. If you barely know their last name and you're handing them money, and because they brought the money back, if they brought the money back, that you're going to say, oh, well, I can trust them. I can loan them something and they'll give it back to me. Nah, that's not the way that works. If they need to borrow money, go to Amscot. They don't need to get money from you. If they need a ride, you might be able to give them a ride, but you have to make sure that your engagements with acquaintances and locational friends and situational friends are transactional until they start voluntarily sacrificing themselves for you. So if they ask you for a ride, just because you gave them one ride, like Spider-Man says, everybody gets one. Second one, you got to fill my tank.
That's Family Guy Spider-Man, though.
Huh?
That's Family Guy Spider-Man.
No, that's everybody. Peter Parker is not coming to your rescue every freaking time, but he will even come to a bad guy's rescue at least one time. So everybody gets one, but it costs you to get more. So you're not going to be able to say that you can call me for a ride and I'm going to give you a ride every day just because your car broke, or just because you got a DUI, or just because you got a job outside of the bus line and I offered you a ride one time because the weather was bad. That does not mean that you can call me every day to come pick you up. The second time you want me to come get you, you got to fill my tank. Every time after that, you got to budget gas money for my vehicle so that I can take and my time. So you can't just say, oh, well, gas is $3 a gallon. I put premium in my vehicle, bro. And sometimes premium gas is $5.15 a gallon. So you got to start thinking, if you're going 15, 20 miles, you might want to give me 15, 20 bucks, because Uber is going to cost you an extra $10. So, think about it. You got to pay me for my time. I'm your like personal taxi cab, because you can call me whenever you want to take you places. So if that's the case, then you got to really start paying me for my gas mileage and my time, because you're not going to pay for my maintenance. But the day that I tell you I got to put my car in the shop and you tell me, oh, how much is it? I'll help you pay for it. That boosts you up a tier from the kind of person that is going to use me for a ride to the kind of person that's actually going to fix my car. And when you start talking about whether or not you're going to let somebody use your car, if they're not going to fix your shit, you're probably not going to let them use your shit. That's kind of the way I would look at it. Because if they total out your car, yeah, your insurance might throw out some money to replace it. But depending on the mileage of your car and the year of your car, the value of your car might not be high enough for you to get the exact same car in the exact same year, which means you might have to get an older car in worse condition than the car that you had before they fucked it up. So if they're not going to give you the difference to replace your car, then you're in a fucked up situation. So you have to make sure that you're not overly extending yourself in your lower level friendships. You have to make sure that they qualify, that they deserve that based on their benefiting you before you start exerting your resources to them, even as friends. So uniformly speaking, my expectations of how people should treat one another in friendships is the same way as how you expect to treat somebody in a relationship. The only difference is that you're not screwing your friends. So, the fact is that if this person does not benefit you, you should not be benefiting them. You should be able to recognize that outside of a conversation and listening to what they say, like a confessional, that they're not getting shit from you because they're not willing to give you shit. So you should not be in a situation where this person has asked you for something more times than you have asked them for something, and they're still asking. This should not be a situation where you've asked them for something and then you gotta borrow it back. That's not good. If you borrowed money for an extended period of time and you have not made it a point to bring it back, but you have made it a point to go to the club, to go to the movies, to go on vacation, you owe me money. Bitch, where's my money? This is that Stewie situation. Brian owed him money, but Brian's able to do all this other bullshit, but he never gave Stewie back his money. Yeah, that's exactly that situation. No, you cannot have fun. You cannot do something for somebody else. You cannot entertain yourself. You cannot splurge on anything. If you've got an extra dollar outside of your bills, I get that dollar every time until you pay me back. And if you're not the kind of person to do that, then I am not the kind of person to loan you shit. So you got to prioritize reimbursing me. And in some situations, reimbursing me with interest, since it's going to be an extended period of time, you're going to be borrowing money from me. I got to put this stuff up on a level. I greatly appreciate the follows. I expect you to reimburse me on my level so I could put that away. That way, when you decide that if I'm going to be that guy that's going to give you shit, when you call and say, hey, I need some money, let me go into the loan you money fund that you've been giving me for a while, and let me just give you that so that you can do what you got to do, so that I'm not fucked up, so that my emergency fund isn't tapped out, so that I don't have to go and do something strange for a piece of change to bring you a dollar. That is not what a good friend is supposed to do. A good friend is not supposed to break your bank. A good friend is supposed to be somebody that is in a bind that can call you and say, hey, good friend, can you hold me down? Whereas another good friend would say, yeah, I'll hold you down. But when I'm in a bind, I say, hey, man, I'm in a bind. And then you're able to catch me back. So if you owed me money and now I'm in a financial problem and I tell you, hey, man, I'm short, you should be able to say less and be able to go and get that money from me. Even if you got to go borrow it from another friend, you got to catch me back because I held you down when you was in trouble. If you're not going to hold me down when I'm in trouble, then why the fuck am I holding you down? Like, at the end of the day, bro, kick rocks. I said on this show plenty of times before that our success is going to be based on the network that we have. And if we've got a network holding us back, we got a network that is stopping us from becoming successful, we will not be successful because we're going to spend more time wasting our energy and wasting our effort on people that are not aiding us in our success. They are not aiming to make us better. They are not striving to make us a legacy of success stories. And as a result, we're just wasting our time. And as men, we cannot waste our time. We have to be able to invest ourselves in our own success and invest ourselves in a network of friends and family members that will make us successful, or at least try to make us successful. If we're not doing that, then what are we doing with our lives? Because yes, living is about making memories, but it's supposed to be about fond memories, positive memories. You should not be on the struggle where you've only got like 12 good memories out of 362 because you were grinding and you only took 12 times to go and enjoy life. You should be able to have a whole lifetime of memories, or at least 6 to 9 months out of the year should be a damn good time where you did not have any stress. If you got stress all year and like the only time that you're not thinking about it is when you're off and hanging out with your homie, then that means that once or twice a week you're not stressed. That's not the way to live. So if your homeboy is trying to help you get better and build your money up and get you into a more financially free position, those are the kind of friends that you want to have on your plate, because those are the kind of ones that are going to try their best to make you successful. They'll invest in your ideas, invest in your visions, invest in your dreams. Those are the really good friends. The ones that are just there for the sake of being there, the ones that'll exchange like the females are good at having male friends, and they'll ask you for a ride and they might give you some sloppy toppy or something and you're like, oh yeah, we're friends with benefits. No. She's using you, and then she's in exchange giving you access to her body because that is all she's worth. But and that's as a person, not as a female. That is as a person, because she is not worth more than that to you, because she's not gonna bail you out of a bind. She's not gonna come to your rescue. If your car breaks down, she's not gonna get you another car. She's not gonna come and get you off the side of the road. She's got more shit to deal with than whatever's going wrong with you. And when you have those types of engagements, those aren't real friends. A real friend will drop what they're doing and come to your aid. A real friend will fly to you if they're too far. The real friend will drive to you no matter how far it is. A real friend will try their best to send you money if they have the capabilities of doing that. But a real friend is not going to promise to do something for you and then not come through. We have good friends that do that. They just get overwhelmed and they just don't come through. But more often than not, over the full span of your relationship, you could probably rely on that person more often than they fail you. But a person that does not succeed for you, does not put out effort for you, but you have been able to on a regular basis succeed for them, that is not a balanced equation, and it's not uniform. If you're not benefiting from them as much as they're benefiting from you, that is not uniform. And if the roles were reversed and they were not benefiting from you the way you're benefiting from they would ghost you. And if that person understands that, then they understand that they're being a shitty friend. And if they're being a shitty friend, they need to rethink their position or be alone, because they and typically people are going to use other people. We understand that. But our first person accountability with our non-negotiable expectations for behavior, we are not going to allow ourselves to be used by people who do not value us and do not appreciate us and do not strive for our success or aim for the betterment of us. So we're going to withhold our resources to most situations where we're not overly exerting ourselves for the sake of somebody else, and we know that that person will not put forth any effort in reciprocating in any way, shape, or form. I understand we've got really close friends and we go to bat for it, and those people take a decent quantity of time to come back for us. But outside of those situations, when you know that that person is going to come back with it eventually, that's probably the only situation where you're like, yeah, I'll invest in this for a while, because I know that that person's going to get a chunk of change and that person's going to throw it back at me in spades. That's understandable. But a person that the resources only goes one way, 2, 3, 4 years go by and the resources are never coming back the other way. After the second or third time that they didn't ask you for something and they have never given you back the first time that they asked you, the response is, I don't have it. It's got to start coming out. It's like, bro, I don't have it. Like, matter of fact, I actually need something. Do you have the ability to give me back the first 2 times I sent you something? Then they can start really thinking like, damn, I did kind of borrow from you 2 or 3 times and I didn't give it back to you. That's when, they got to realize that they have to start being a better friend financially, a better partner, because a friendship is a partnership. And I apologize for the extended rant, but Mr. Pierce, what else did you have to say about that while you were talking? I had to get that out because we had a few people that were entertaining that.
A part of it is going to be like an add-on of what Xander said, but but for me, I don't really. My tier system is different. I wouldn't say I wouldn't have one, but I do. But it's just formed differently. So when I say you're an associate, that means you're not my friend. Let's be pointing out straight up clear. And all throughout my life, I can only say that besides Xander, because Xander is like a brother to me, instead of we have a relationship where it's just brother to brother relationship. It's no longer friendship. I only have roughly 2 friends, and one of them is going to be like a sister to me. But I don't that's my limit. I don't really have anyone higher than that. I'm not looking for anyone higher than that, because I can have 100 friends, but when the stuff hits the fan, probably not all of them are gonna help me.
Then they're not all friends.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're not really that's when you like know when you have like true friends.
So specifically, really, you could know 100 people. So you could specifically know 100 people and hang out with them on a regular basis, but they're not all your friends.
Yeah.
And that's why, yeah, we're gonna have to redefine your tier system, because when you say that an acquaintance is somebody that's not your friend,
that's why I say when my mom would ask me, "Hey, your friend is here." I say that's not my friend. My friends would call me. My friends would knock on the door. My friends would give me a heads up. Hey, I'm coming over. Or hey, I got you a friend or not. No, it is not good to come to my house unless you need something really, really bad, or I tell you you can come to my house.
well, they're
I don't
not
let
supposed to be
anyone to my
coming
house.
to your house if they're not your friend, and they should not be needing something from you if they're not your friend. So if and you would have had to have passed up the locational friend, you would have had to pass up the situational friend, and kind of gravitated into the non-restrictive friend level, which would be like a tier 3 level, before they can start hinting to you that they're in extreme need for your aid. Because in the tier 4 level, they start offering to help you out, and even in the mildest fashions, before they can start leaning on you for a favor. So the friendship, the true friendship, begins when the other person voluntarily sacrifices themselves and their resources for your known issue. If you make your issue known to them, where y'all normally interact with one another, vent
Or
the
if you're like
trouble.
so I want to add, if some like instances when they know where you live, it's like
No,
when you ask them to give you a ride to the house,
no,
sometimes because you just don't want to walk. That's
no.
sometimes usually what happens.
No, that's what I was saying earlier in the show before you got on, and I'm glad that you pointed that out a second time. So thing about it is that if you do not elevate up to a friend just because they gave you a ride. That they know where your house is. They know where your house is. That doesn't mean that they can come to your house. The fact is, Uber brings you home, but that doesn't mean that the Uber driver can come back to your house and borrow money. Okay,
Yes.
so the thing about it is that if your acquaintance or associate, because they're pretty much the same thing. An acquaintance is somebody that you're aware of on a regular basis,
Mm-hmm.
but you guys don't really talk at all. Y'all know about each other, but y'all the existence of one another.
That's the word
But
I was
you
looking for. Acquaintances. That's the word I'm looking for. Thank you.
they're pretty much the same. It's just syllables or synonyms. Sorry. The thing is that when you are aware of this person's existence, like that girl over there, her name might be Sarah. That's it. That's all you know. You don't know if she's got a boyfriend. You don't know if she's got a family. You don't know if she's single. You don't know if she's a mother. You don't know what her personal life is. You don't know what her finances are. You don't know shit about her. You just know that person over there's name is Sarah, because y'all passed each other enough times where she's basically interfered with your mode of travel. And that is why you guys have had to engage with one another. Because somebody that you pass by and outside of saying hi, that's hi guy. Because we say hi when we pass one another. That's an acquaintance. That's an associate. Well, that's more of an acquaintance than
Let
an
me be
associate.
very
But
clear. This is what he meant by when a girl walks up. She said, "Hi, guys," and not
like
like
hi, that's it.
not.
That's like hi. No,
And
it's
if
a,
you're looking for that sexual term, she would pass to say, "Hi, guy."
no, I wouldn't say that, because that's sexual harassment. I'm thinking about to the magnitude of, okay, so if you guys only see one another in passing, like you guys are in an office space, you're walking past one another, and you just greet each other because that's mutual respect. That's somebody that you greet on a daily basis. That would be an associate or an acquaintance, because you're aware of that person's existence. You guys are in the office space, you guys end up in a break room at the same time. That's more of an acquaintance. If you're in school or college and you guys sit at the same table and eat together, that's more of an acquaintance or an associate, because you are aware of each other. You don't actually sit in front of each other and talk. You just kind of sit at two ends of the same table, so you kind of make eye contact with one another on a regular basis. That's more of an acquaintance or an associate. If you have to sit in the same place as this person at the same time, but you guys don't really socialize with one another, that's more of an acquaintance or an associate. If you are engaging this person on a regular basis, hey, how was your day? How was your family? How was yesterday? This, that, and the third. You guys are shooting the breeze with one another. Oh, the weather. Oh, the Knicks. Oh, the Bucks. That is a situational or locational friend. So, and the reason why that's a situational or locational friend is because you are sharing personal information about yourself with that person in that situation or in that location where they are bonding with you by sharing personal information about themselves with you in that same situation or that same location. Now, you guys don't fuck with each other outside of that situation or outside of that location. And those situational friends are still tier 2 friends, tier 2 social interaction, tier 2 relationship, or that does not quantify coming to my house for any reason at all. Somebody could be dying. Don't come to my house, go to the hospital. You should not be asking me for money or calling me for an emergency or even coming to my house for an emergency until you've reached level 4. You're at level 2 when we just know about each other from this location or this situation. Does that make sense?
If you want to increase that tier, you got to start chipping me some money.
We're not increasing that tier because you're gonna have to start making sacrifices. Because I mean, like, real talk, you have to invest in your friends the same way you have to invest in your relationships. So if you want a really good friendship, if you want a really good relationship, then you have to invest in those people. Now, a good investment will receive dividends. So you put money into this person, you will get money out of this person. But you analyze and observe this person, engage this person, and your non-negotiable expectations for behavior. And then you're able to determine that if I put money into this guy, I'm going to get money out of this guy. And I might not get the same levels at every time, but I might put something into him and get less out this time, but I might put less into him next time and get a whole lot more back the time after that. That is when you're able to understand that this is a reasonable investment. It might be a fluctuating investment, it might be a volatile investment, but it will pay off for you if you are investing in the right kind of people. They've got the strong drive, strong ambitions, and dedication. They're grunt workers. They're able to get out there and make a bag, even if they got to do it the hard way. So until they make that bag, they might be in a hole, and you might have to wait for your comeuppance. But as soon as they get that bag, you're the first person they're coming to find and say, hey, I appreciate you for holding me down when I was down. So now that I'm up, here goes yours. You're going to come up with me. Those kinds of friends, you invest in them so that when they start becoming more successful, they will reinvest in you to make you successful. But just to say that because somebody gave you a ride because you didn't feel like walking, that doesn't make them a friend. That doesn't make them more than somebody that dropped you off one day. And just because they dropped you off doesn't mean that they can come back to your house and ask you for shit. You can't tell me that just because you took this girl out on a date and spent all this money on her, that now you can come to her house whenever you want to and sit at her dinner table and eat her Cheerios and play Xbox on her TV. No, you take that girl out and you still got to get her permit. You just spent $300-400 on 2 hours worth of entertaining her, and now you have to ask her permission to come back over. So why the fuck do you think that you can give me a ride that probably cost you less than $10 to drop me off? Because I'm not going to ask you to inconvenience yourself and drive me 50 miles outside of your way. If you're headed in my direction where you got to pass me to get to where you're going, then I might ask you to drop me off along the way, and I'll walk the rest of the way. And you feel like, oh, I'll just drop you off at the door so that you don't got to walk. I appreciate that, but that doesn't mean that you can come back. Like vampires, you need an invitation. And if you didn't get one, you will get burned when you get here. So, I just want to make sure that you understand that no, that they're not supposed to come whenever they want to. They're not supposed to ask you for shit. Just because they know your last name does not mean they can ask you for money. If they have not offered to pay for your shit, if they haven't offered to they all they know about you is you got a car. They ain't tried to pay your car insurance, fix your car when your car's in the shop. If they rode in your car one time and realized that something was wrong with your car, and they didn't say, oh man, I know somebody who could fix that for you, and make a phone call and get it fixed for you on the low, if they didn't actually pay to get it fixed for you, then why the fuck are they asking you for shit? If you know that I got shit going on and you ain't even trying to find ways to fix my problems, why the fuck are you asking me to fix your problems? That makes no fucking sense. And we ain't on that level because I already made a sacrifice by putting your ragged ass in my damn car. So why the fuck am I making extra sacrifices for you? Because you feel like you can tap into this resource. No, you're not tapping into this resource. You better go to a local charity because this shit ain't gonna work. That's how it is. What do you got, Mr. Peppz? What do you got?
So, continuing on that, like Xander said, if you come into my house, you're not my friend. My friends won't do that. My friends will never, ever, ever do that. Or if I didn't request it personally from me, then you don't come to my house. It's a root. I don't. And if I go to someone's house, I call them every single time. Even if they say, "Oh, you're always welcome," I'll still call you because that's the same respect that I show towards you.
Let's be real. You're never welcome.
Yeah,
You're never
you're
welcome.
never welcome.
You're never
You're
welcome.
never welcome.
People will lie to you and tell you that you are always welcome. But let's be honest that in today's society in 2024, where social media is more closely bonded to one another than real life engagement. In 1996, you're always welcome means that you can come to my house and knock on my door before you let yourself in. And then if you tell me that you're coming in because my door is not locked, then I know that it's you when you come in. And as you're walking into my door, I'm telling you, come in, because you will always be welcomed into my house. In 2024, you have to text me on my social media platform and let me know that you want to slide through. You got to drop into my DMs and let me know that you're trying to slide it through so that I can be like, I come through. Now that I know that you're coming, when you get here, you are welcome. I'm not going to tell you no if you tell me that you coming. But if you showed up unannounced, you didn't send me nothing on, you ain't tweet me, you ain't Snapchat me, you ain't Instagram me, you ain't Facebook me, YouTube me, something, TikTok me or something. You ain't did something to let me know that you was coming through. Send me a text message, send me an email, something. Because you can't call me. Motherfuckers don't answer their phone these days. We too busy to answer the phone, but we not too busy to update our social media status. So you got to do something to let me know that you coming through before you get here. And if I see the message before you get here, I can tell you not to come if I didn't want your ass to come. But if I didn't see it before you got here, I see somebody beating on my door. I look at my phone like, fuck. And now I got to come and entertain your ass because I said you always welcome. No, you are not always welcome. You show up on motherfuckers' doorstep without advance notice, you're going to see what kind of friends you really got. That motherfucker going to be like, what the fuck are you doing here? They're going to be talking to you reckless, bro. They're like, hey, man, I'm in the middle of some shit. And then you also got to think about what kind of friend are you? Because if you're dropping in and now the girl that waiting on him is about to leave because and whatever he was about to get into, he can't get into now because you're here, you just fucked up a good thing. And if you do that on a regular basis, yeah, that's irritating as fuck. I had a friend that I'm gonna be real with you. He was a problem. He was a huge problem.
I kept that system. I kept that for the longest time, and it has been helping me greatly.
But you gotta improve that system. We gotta tighten our belts after COVID. We in a recession now.
I had to tighten it a little bit more because after 2020. Oh, let's be real, y'all. That was some crazy stuff going on.
I'm just saying, like I had a friend that used to get on my fucking nerves, man. This motherfucker would come in the middle of the night, then crash his car, driving drunk. He fucking up a good thing. Everybody out there clubbing. He trying to drive again. You already had a DUI once, boy. Why? What you mean you driving? You drink more than everybody else here. Now I can't even get laid. Like I'm sitting over here, like every time I go somewhere with you, I'm in a bar fight. Like these are the kind of people where you like, bro, this friend is problematic.
I was the chaperone. I was there was one time where they need me to help them pay for their situation. I helped them with that. I was like, man, it's just already set up. I'm not your personal Uber.
It's like you got the kind of friends where like you have to recognize that sometimes that they're inconvenient, and you literally have to sit them down and you got to tell them that they're inconvenient. I actually had to tell this guy. I had to sit him down and be like, bro, like, look, dude, like you gonna have to stop calling me after this hour. You can't even call me because I got shit to do, and what you need is gonna require me to stop doing what I gotta do so that I can come over there and take care of what you. I'll call you when I'm not doing something, and then if you got something that's going on, I'll be able to come through there and come get you. Because I know that I had to reinstate his driver's license. I had to fix his car. I had to do all the stuff that I had to do, and I'm sitting over here looking like I do not ask you for shit.
And you give him that look like he wants you to do this stuff.
Like you want
for a requirement.
You want me to co-sign on your DUI you've been drinking every day since you got convicted, and you want me to co-sign on your shit and say that you ain't never drank a day since the day? Like what? Like good friend, man, I do it, but like bro, like you and I can't go places in the same vehicle after you've been drinking. If I am not the designated driver, I will convoy behind you. I don't care how much gas I'm wasting. I will follow you because we are not going to be. And I'm not going to lie. We were situational friends at a time where we used to go places and we used to save money and get in the same vehicle, and he would put gas in it and I would drive. He would pay for cover. I would drink less than him and I would drive. There were times where me and him went places and whoever was the least drunk would drive. But at the same time, he's the one that has gotten in trouble for it more often than not. He's the one that's got a breathalyzer in his car. I've never had to deal with that shit. So you understand, I know when to stop. He doesn't know when to stop. He's the one that's ending up in a bar fight and going to jail, and I got to come and get him. And I'm just sitting over here looking like, buddy, this is not the behavior that you need to have. One, you're older than me, so you should be setting a better example. And two, I should not have to put up with this on a regular basis. This is when you start saying, okay, I'm going to distance myself from that person. When I'm ready for that chaos, then I'll go over there and get involved with that chaos. When I'm not ready for that chaos, I'm not going over there to get involved with that chaos. And that's kind of how you start reassessing your friendships. They tend to kind of stay around a 4 or a 5 once they make it to a 4 or a 5, but they don't actually make it up to 7s, 8s, and 9s. You're not going to really be able to consider them like family.
They want to be up there, but they can't do the work to get up there.
Well, they don't do the work to get up there, but what we fail to understand is that a lot of times we treat people better than they deserve to be treated. And that's why associates and acquaintances get friendship tier stuff. You're lending money and offering rides to people you don't even know. And we shouldn't be doing that. We should be able to know their whole backstory. You should be able to do a background check. You should be able to do a credit check. You should be able to do a financial assessment on them before you start offering them money. If you don't know what their money look like, if you don't know what their household look like, if you don't know what their responsibilities and obligations look like, y'all not close enough friends for them to be asking you for money. You know what I mean? If they don't know what's going on with you, y'all not close enough for them to ask you for a ride, for them to ask you for money. So if y'all not sharing each other's deepest, darkest personal financial secrets, they should not be talking to you about their asking you for money. Now, if y'all are in one of those situations and they talking about, yeah, man, you know, money's tight, blase squaze, I'm struggling, man. Look, if you decide that you're going to offer them something, you're not going to offer them your money. You're going to offer them an opportunity to go make money. Get out there, go pick up some scooters or some shit. Get out there and hustle, go get yours. Do some affiliate marketing. Take some of that extra money that you're spending at the stop going to the club, nigga. Then take some of that extra money that you're spending at the club and invest it into some stocks and bonds. Take the money and invest it into, like I was saying before, into high interest yield checking accounts so that they can gain interest till you need some money. Then when you need some money, instead of you asking me for some money, you can go to them 12, 15 bank accounts that you have opened up this year, and you can pull some money back out, put it back into your pocket, and then put the money back when you need to. That way you're forever getting that interest off of it, because 5% guaranteed interest unreported to the IRS is a hell of a lot more money than 10% interest that's going to be taxed 20% by the U.S. government. And then you got to give that up on top of whatever else that you're making. Nah. If you think about it, if I'm gonna find ways to help you make more money and help you save money and help you spend your money better so that you don't got to call me and ask me for money, at least I'm helping you with your situation where your situation won't be so volatile. But I should not have to come out of pocket every time you fuck your money up. I got to give you money. You not my child. I should not be paying for you like that. We don't know each other that well. So if we reassess how we treat people, they should not get benefits in a tier system that they don't qualify for. Associates and acquaintances should not get more than a high five. You need a ride? Do you want me to show you how to download the Uber app? I'll send you a referral. There go your free ride right there. If you don't already have Uber or Lyft, and if you have Uber but you don't have Lyft, I got both. I can send you a link, and if you download the link, you get like $5 or $10 off your first ride. So I can help you. You can help me because I can get a discount. Then when I need that Uber ride, I can use it. Nah, we going somewhere. But should I put you in my car and take you somewhere? Hell no. That's not how that works. Because at the same time, you gave them a ride because you got a car and they don't. Will they change your oil? Will they replace your tires? Will they replace your brakes? That's a once a year kind of situation. Will they do it? Oil change is $50. Will they give you $50 for oil change? No, but they'll ask you for a ride for free. Will they put $10, $15, $20 in your car the first time you get in your car? Not all of the time, but they'll ask you for a ride for free. So if my car's about to get maintenance and your ass ain't about to pay for that maintenance, your ass don't get in my car. I had good friends back in the 90s. She used to drive my car. I had a chauffeur. She was that good. But she rebuilt my car from the ground up, changed out CV axles and everything. If she didn't buy the parts, her daddy bought the parts for my car. So every time my car broke, they was over there working on it. And my car broke because of all the miles that we put on it and the way that she was driving my car. So if something happened and she broke my suspension, her daddy fixed my suspension. That's $1,500. If you're willing to spend $1,500 because you hit a pothole too hard, am I going to complain about you hitting potholes? No, you're going to rebuild my fucking car. So I don't give a fuck. It's just a car. But even if you drive a Miss Daisy, if you're going to burn all the gas out of my car had a full tank of gas, and you're going to bring me back my car on empty and say, I appreciate you, and walk away, and then the next time you call me, you're like, hey, man, let me use your car again. Fuck you, mean? You still owe me $55 for the last time you took my car, bro. Like that. You like Spider-Man, you only get that one time, bro. You are not about to get it again. I'm not about to let you have it happen again. No, you better catch you a fucking cab, bro. Your gas ain't cheap, and gas go up in the summertime. That ain't gonna happen. So what do you got, Mr. Piz? What do you got?
So yeah, back to what I said in the beginning of the show. Before I said it, say it again. Make sure you like and subscribe, and check out our Twitch and YouTube store. We would really appreciate it if you go in there and explore. Check out our merchandise. We have some good merch up there. If you join the membership, you get discounts as well on the YouTube, and also on the Twitch side. There will be some coupons, but not as much as better as the YouTube side. So I highly advise, if you haven't joined the YouTube channel, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure you hit those like buttons and notifications. That way you'll be up to date on the current events that we push out. But back to what we're saying. Oh, and make sure you hit those super likes as well. We got it for this channel. So back to what I was saying. It's always good to have few than many friends, because those few are enough for anything that you need. You only need like 4 friends tops. That should be your max. Hell, make it even that's even being too gracious. Make it 2 friends. 2 friends is all you need. 2 friends, it's like Joey Soprano said, if you got 3 friends, you're finished. Once we both stroll down to the town, you're finished. You're done.
But you gotta have 3 good friends, though. You gotta have 3 good friends. You gotta have 3 that are willing to boost you up.
And you're finished.
But if you don't got 3 good motherfuckers on your side that is gonna boost you up to be a better you, where you can boost them up to be the better them, then you're gonna be finished, because you're gonna have 3 people that's gonna weigh you down. If you're the most successful person in your group, you hard up, because how are you gonna get better? You plateaued. In order for you to improve, you have to have people in your group that's better than you. You might have 5 friends, and out of the 5 friends, there's 6 of y'all. You might have 3 people less successful than you, 3 people more successful than you. You can learn from the people that's more successful than you, so that you can teach the people that are less successful than you. Then all 6 of y'all are successful. But if you got 5 friends, you're the most successful person out of your group. How do you get better? You don't. You can bring them up to your level. You have to go find somebody better than you, have them mentor you to teach you how to be better than yourself, so that you can then teach your friends how to be better than they are. And then you have to have the kind of friends that want to be better, that strive to be better, that have the dreams and ambitions and aspirations to be better. Because you could be putting all your effort into somebody who has no interest in being better. They're satisfied with where they're at. They're content with the bottom. And they will not do better than holding you back, because you want to be at the top. And if you're investing in them so that they can be at the top with you, but they don't want to be at the top, they're good where they at because it doesn't require much effort. It doesn't require much thinking. It doesn't require much work. Then they're going to plateau down here. You're going to keep striving for the top. And one of two things is going to happen. You're either going to get pissed off and you're going to be fussing at them about why they're not applying themselves to be successful, or you're going to pass them so far up that y'all lose touch with one another because you're up here doing big money moves and they're down here hanging out in the ghetto doing shit because they don't got nothing else to do with their life because they ain't really trying to apply themselves to nothing. The difference between two friends that used to be sitting on a stoop like boys in the hood talking about how life ain't easy and how they need to come up, and then one friend go and become the CEO of a company, the person sitting on the stoop still sitting on the stoop. They don't talk to one another no more because the one in the office is in the office all the time. He ain't sitting on the stoop. He in the office making big money moves. He's not out there just hanging out doing shit. Now, when he get a day off, he might come back and visit the boy on the stoop. But the boy on the stoop, oh, hey, where you been? You fell off. No, I didn't fell off. I came up. You got to understand there's a difference. You fell off and you stayed off. I came up and I'm not going back. And that's the difference. So you can't just get just three motherfuckers and say that you got three motherfuckers. Because you can know three motherfuckers. And if them three motherfuckers like MC Hammer had 500 criminals on his payroll, did them 500 criminals keep him from getting his shit took by the IRS? No. He had to consolidate and collaborate and figure out a way to cut. Did he make his money back? Yes. But he was the most successful person in.
He used to be.
But exactly. He was the most successful person in his network. So when he fell, everybody fell. It was an upside down pyramid. And when his legs gave out, everybody crashed. You cannot be the top person on your pyramid, especially an upside down pyramid. You have to be somebody somewhere in the middle. You got to got people better than you, and you will always have people on your level, and you will always have people less than you. You're not going to treat them less than you, but you will always have people less than you. And the reason why you're going to have people less than you, they're not socially less than you. They're not less worthy of you or anything like that. They have less knowledge. They have less skill set. They have less resources or access to resources or access to the knowledge to the resources than you do, probably because they don't even know that stuff exists. And you are teaching them and mentoring them and aiding them into going get those resources and utilize those resources so that their situation will be better so that they can become a better them. So while you're teaching down and across, you are going to be showing people that are on your level ways to be better. You're going to be showing people below your level ways to get on your level. And then you're going to be learning from people that are above your level so that you can get on a higher level. And until you become a millionaire, you're not on the right level. And when you're on a millionaire, you're talking a billionaire so that you can try to figure out how to get on that level. So if you're not on the $200,000, $300,000 plateau, you got to find people on the $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 plateau. And you got to try to get there. Then when you get there, then you find the people on the $250,000, $750,000 thing. Then you get there. Then you find those people on the $1 million level and the $1 billion level, and you try to get there. And you spend your whole life trying to come up. Whenever you either reach a certain age where you can't do it no more, or you satisfied with where you at, that's where you stop at. But when you stop there, you got to have a blanket of success where you have reached a level where you will not fall back off. You're not going to be on an inflated balloon like MC Hammer where eventually the bubble will pop and you will crash. You have to be on a solid foundation, which means that you're building safety nets along the way. And then as you build those safety nets, you don't got to tell everybody about your operation, but you can help somebody else with their operation to show them how to build their own safety nets so that they can be more successful. You don't have to give them all of your trade secrets, but you can just give them more trade secrets than what they had so that they can be a better them. And then in return, if in the event that you need something to make your situation more solid, you can go and lean on that person and get a little bit of aid to strengthen your network. That is how that works. You don't just give your resources to them. You can give knowledge to them for free. Yeah, knowledge is free. It's the most valuable asset in the world, but it is also still free. But your actual tangible resources, you don't have to expel those to every person that you don't know the last name of, every person you haven't seen or heard of their social security number yet, that you're not supposed to be expelling your resources to them, because there's 355 million people in the United States, and you will go broke just taking care of a few hundred. So you say you want to have two, three people on your ticket. That's a whole family. You don't want to have 3 or 4 people on your plate that are a financial bind. You don't want that. If you got one person on your plate, that might cost you a little bit of money every now and again. That's pushing it. If you got 2 people on your plate, you need to start reassessing the people that you're fucking with. Because if they're not putting money back into your pocket to the same magnitude or higher than what you're putting into their pocket, then you really have to start thinking about what kind of friends you got. And a lot of times you have to change out friends. But if you're going to keep the friends that you have, you're going to have to get friends that are going to put money into your pocket so that you can take that money and put it into the other friend's pocket, which means that you always got to be looking for better friends. Doesn't mean that you got to sell out and sabotage and sacrifice the ones that you already know, but it does mean that you can't be the most financially successful person in your network. It makes no sense. If I'm the most successful person in my network, if I make the most money out of all of my people, if I got the most resources and my money is not enough, who do I tap on the shoulder and say, hey, man, I need something? Everybody coming to me asking for something. So how the fuck can I go to somebody and say, hey, I need some money. I need this. I need that. Nobody got a car. I need a ride. My car broke. How can you ask somebody for help if you're the one that's helping everybody? It doesn't make sense. So you have to have somebody that's got more resources than you so that you will be able to tap that person on the shoulder and say, hey, I'm in a little bit of a bind. And it might actually be a 2-part process, because you might have a good friend that taps you on the shoulder and asks you for money, and you say, let me see what I can do. And then you go to another friend, you tap that person on the shoulder and say, hey, let me borrow some money. That person gives it to you, you give it to the other person. You're still not at a loss. You're at a zero-sum situation. But when this person pays you back, you pay the other person back. Or you might start making payments to the other person when the first person gives it back to you. But you're not at a loss. You're still breaking even between the 2 people. But if you're only person giving out money, then you got to make 2 incomes, one for you and one for the people that you help. And that's straining yourself. You spread yourself too thin when you do that. That's why I say acquaintances and associates, locational friends, situational friends, you're not supposed to be giving them no money. You're not supposed to be giving them no extra rides. If they're not fixing your car, if they're not investing in you, if they're not just handing you cash just because they appreciate your presence, you should not be offering them money. When they start sacrificing themselves for you, they reach that tier 4 level. When y'all start going places together outside of the situation and the location, doing different stuff, then they start reaching tier 3. But when they start sacrificing themselves for you, that's when they reach tier 4. Tier 4 is when you're able to say, I will sacrifice myself for you to put us into a tier 5 friendship. The tier 4 friendship, you got to sacrifice yourself for me voluntarily. I can't ask you for help. I got to just tell you that help is needed. And then you got to make the conscious choice to say, I got you, bro, and help me. And that puts you in a tier 4 spot. And then when I say, okay, I hear from you that you say, oh, well, I need something. Then I can say, okay, I'm going to reciprocate. That puts us in a tier 5 spot. And then we're in a tier 5 spot. Now I can call you and say, hey, can you help me? Because I know that if you need help, I will help you. Vice versa. You can come and tell me, can you help me? Because you know that I will come and help you. You reach that tier 5 spot because the other person sacrificed for you first. And then you're able to reciprocate second. That's what gets y'all to tier 5. If they're not sacrificing for you first, you should not be doing shit for them. You should not be the first person to sacrifice for them if they're not willing to sacrifice for you. Because then you got a bunch of leeches that know, oh, Mr. Peppz is going to get that money. I'm going to go hang around with him long enough. And then when he get his paycheck, I'm going to be like, hey, buddy, can I get some money? That's not the way it's supposed to be. If they're asking you, they're not good friends. If they don't know your last name, your social security number, and where you park your car at night, if they don't have those 3 things under their repertoire of knowledge, then they should not be asking you for money. If they don't know how many miles you got to feed and what financial responsibilities that you got to deal with and when your bills is due, so that they're not borrowing money when you got to pay for your house, your mortgage, your rent, whatever, then they don't know you well enough to ask you for money. Because the other half of that is, if I need help, I'm not going to ask a friend that I'm going to inconvenience. If you got bills to pay, I'm not going to call you on the 1st and I know that you ain't paid your rent. I'm not going to call you on the 15th and I know your car note is due on the 16th. I'm not going to cause you to sacrifice yourself where you get put out or your car get repossessed or your phone get cut off so that you can help me. That's not what a good friend does. if I know that me asking you for help is going to put you in a compromising position where you're going to suffer to help me, I'm not supposed to ask you for help. If I'm going to ask somebody for help, I'm going to ask somebody who has extra resources so that they can help me without hurting. So again, if they don't know you well enough to know that if they're asking you for money is going to make you hurt, then they should not be asking you for money. So you can't say, oh, well, that's my associate, that's my acquaintance, but I'm going to give them $50 because they need something to eat. If you don't know what I eat for lunch, don't ask me for money to eat for lunch. If you ain't never bought me lunch, don't tell me that you're hungry. That's how it is. Because you're not even willing to do for me, but you're willing to ask of me. Fuck you mean? Y'all get the fuck out of here. That don't make no sense. We're not about to have that. Because if we don't set those standards when we meet people and throughout our life, we young, we got another 40, 50 years left to go. And throughout, maybe more. And throughout our life, we're going to meet people. And the better off we are, the more people are going to gravitate around us. But we got to weed those people out. The same way we got to weed out these females. And we got to make sure that the ones that we socialize with and the ones that we interact with are not going to use us. They're not going to be parasitic. And when we recognize that they're not going to be parasitic, then we can go ahead and say, okay, I can do a little bit for this person because I know that they're going to do a lot more for me. And then y'all can capitalize on that. One person might give out 100, the other person might reciprocate with 200. One person might give out 200, the other person might reciprocate with 400. One person might put up 1,000, another person might help them get 2,000. You know, one person might put up an idea, that person might turn it into 200,000. You know, that's how you do. Then when the person that's got the 200,000 got a little extra, they slide you 5,000. You know, you didn't even need the 5,000. You only needed your 2,000. But that's how you capitalize on one another. But if you're just there, just saying, oh, hey, buddy, let me get this, let me get that. And because it's not a lot, because it's under a certain amount, you're like, oh, yeah, sure. Nah, man, that tab add up. How many times do you ask the bartender for a drink before they start asking you to cash out your tab? You start reaching 100, 200, 300. They start asking you to put something on the bill. You know, so you can't just keep asking for drinks. You can't just keep asking for stuff. They're going to ask you, are you ready to pay? It's time to go. They're not just going to run you a tab and say, don't worry about it. You might be able to come to the bar for a whole year, 2 years, 3 years. And one time you might not have enough and they tell you, don't worry about it. I'll pay for it one time. But how many times can you go to the bar and not have enough money to buy drinks at the bar before the bartender says you got to have money before you order? They might let you slide once or twice if they know you because you've been coming here for a long time, spending a lot of money, which means you've invested first. And then they might let you do it a couple times. But if this is your first 2 times at the bar, do you think that they're going to let you slide with not getting a drink? They might let you slide with 1 free drink the first time you come to the bar. Probably because you're having a shitty day. You know, you thought you had it. Your cards is all maxed out. Your cash is, so somebody stole your wallet or some shit. You trying to get home. They might offer you a free drink to help you out with your situation. That's it. But do you think that you can go there every day and get a free drink? No. The first one might be free. Like I said, like Spider-Man said, everybody gets 1. The first drink might be free. But the second, third, and 5th time you show up, bitch, you better be paying. You might as well be paying and tipping so that you can compensate me for the free drink that you got for me the first time. So that there is no situation where an acquaintance or an associate or a situational friend or a locational friend or even a average 3rd tier friend that you kind of hang out with in a bunch of other places should be getting any resources from you unless they have already sacrificed themselves voluntarily for you first. When they sacrifice themselves for you and end up in a tier 4 friendship, then you can say, I will sacrifice myself for you. Because otherwise, you are overextending yourself and giving these people benefits that they don't deserve. And they will hang around you and do more stuff with you because they know that they can get that out of you. And then you're going to put them in the same level as a family member when they are not even a basic level friend. And that's not good to do. So I know I just carried on for quite a bit on that particular tangent, but I really had to get that part out because that's a learning moment for everybody that's watching the podcast. And we can't just give to somebody because we spend time with them on a regular basis. We can't do it. We can't do it because you got to ask yourself, how many of the people that you know slide you money on a regular basis with or without you asking for it and then not asking for it back? And if the answer is none, or 1 or 2, then the other 10, 15, 20, 200, 300 people that you know that ain't doing that should not be getting shit from you. Not a ride, not a you what I used to say back in the day when it first started happening. You wasted my unlimited night and weekend minutes talking to me about this bullshit. That's how serious I am about don't fuck with me. You are wasting my unlimited free night and weekend minutes to talk to me about this bullshit. And I don't want to waste my unlimited night and weekend minutes. And motherfuckers used to do the same thing you do, and they would bust out laughing. But I'm serious. I'm like, your request of me is that little.
I laugh because it's true. I laugh because it's true, not because it's just funny, but it's true. You be wasting.
Yes, because my time is valuable. Even if the minutes on my phone is unlimited, my time is still valuable to me. So it might not be valuable to you, but it's valuable to me. I come from a generation, y'all youngins, so y'all don't understand this. I come from a generation where we was paying 69 cents a minute to talk on the phone, 10 to 15 cents a message to text.
I remember that. Oh my god.
So you got to understand that when we had, before they did unlimited phone plans and everything like that, we had to pay per minute for a cell phone. We had to pay per text message. And that's why text messages became the rage, because it was cheaper for me to put everything I wanted to tell you in a long ass text message. That's where the text lingo came from, because the message could be longer if I abbreviate the words. And then I can send you this long ass documentary for 15 cents instead of spending $3 explaining it to you on the phone, where I'm probably talking to your voicemail. So, all of that is what led to the text messages becoming a rage. But once they switched over to unlimited talk and text, they was doing unlimited talk and text after, depending on the phone plan, either after 7 p.m. or after 9 p.m. And then they would do unlimited over the weekend, because most people wasn't using their cell phones over the weekend. So to encourage usage at overnight and then during the weekend, after sunset, it was free. And on the weekends, it was free. And that's the time that everybody who had very little money to spend on their phone bill will start grinding out on blowing up that phone. And I tell you what, when somebody would hit me up, I would always tell them, you are wasting my unlimited free night and weekend minutes. And they'd be like, but it's free. But I still got to pay for the plan. So it's still not free for me. It's just free for you. Now, I call you collect and let you pay for the bill, and we can have a conversation. But if you're not paying for my phone bill, why is you wasting my unlimited free night and weekend minutes to talk to me about this bullshit? You're not even willing to pay for my phone bill for me to listen to this bullshit. Transaction. Our relationship, you're technically, and this is gonna, I'm gonna put a pin in my rant right here. Technically, until you reach tier 5, until you reach a situation where they've already voluntarily sacrificed themselves for your agenda, and then you feel comfortable with volunteering yourself to sacrifice yourself for their agenda, until y'all reach that level, your engagement with them is supposed to be transactional. You will do for them under the conditions that they're going to do for you, in a fashion that is equivocally reciprocable. That's big words. Meaning, you ask me for some shit like a ride, you better be putting gas in my tank. And I'm taking you to the gas station first. I'm not going to expect the money from you on the back end, because motherfuckers jump out the cab and run. So you want to ride, I'm going to take you from where I pick you up at and bring you to the nearest gas station. You put gas in my car, and I will drive you until 50% of the gas that you gave me is burned. So if you give me $5 and my car gets 15 miles to the gallon, out of 60 miles, you're only getting 30. That's it. Because I got to round trip this shit. And if I got to drive out of my way, I'm only giving you 20%, because that means I got to still go back to where I came from and then go back home. So you give me $15, $20 to take you somewhere that's out of my way, it better only cost me $5 to get there. $5 to get there and $5 to get back to where I was, so that I got a $10 profit on taking you where you got to go, because you got to pay me for my time and my vehicle's use. If not, I ain't taking you nowhere. You tell me, oh, you got it. Can you take me somewhere? I ain't got no gas in my car, bro. But you got gas, I got a ride. And we got to work it out from there. Transaction. You hungry? I'll take you to go get something to eat. As long as you buy it for me, you feed me, I feed you. But you can't ask me. You can't ask me for shit. It's not going to be transactional until it's stage 5, or it's going to be transactional until stage 5. Once you reach stage 5, then we can start looking out for one another. But until we get there, bro, if I'm not getting something out of the deal, you ain't getting nothing from me. And also, I just want to say this one thing before I stop. If I got to put money up, you can't put up non-tangible. So, ladies, you can't exchange sexual favors for me expelling my money. It ain't gonna work. That's not gonna work.
I ain't gonna do that either.
If I wasn't gonna, no, you can't give a girl a ride to get some head. It's not gonna work out. If you not putting cash in my gas tank, you ain't getting no ride, because I can get head for free. So I mean, if you're not gonna put gas in my gas tank and give me head, then I'm not giving you no ride. It's like if you give me head, you gotta get. If you give me ass, you gotta give me a gas money too. You can't just oh well, I don't got 20, I got 7, but I can give you head too. Nah, because I ain't paying $15 for no head. That's not gonna happen. Head's gonna come for free. If I'm not getting free head, I'm not paying for it. I will pay for a World of Warcraft membership before I pay for that. If I want to be unsatisfied and frustrated, then I'll just go and get GTA 5 and go fuck with some griefers and get murked every time I walk out of my warehouse and pay for the membership on that. If I really wanted to be pissed off, if I really want to do something, I'll get onto Call of Duty and get onto one of the rookie platforms where nobody knows how to play, but everybody's nuking everybody. Like, I could just really do some shit where I could really be fucked over and waste my money on it, instead of me wasting my time on allowing sexual favors to compensate for my resources, because your sexual favors are not going to fix my car. Your sexual favors are not going to pay my bills. That's not going to work out. Being nice to me doesn't pay my rent. That's saying, well, as long as I owe you, you'll never be broke. No, that just means we both broke, because the landlord still got to get paid. We could do stuff for each other for free, but I still got to pay the man. And if I don't pay the man, he going to put us both out. So you're going to have to give me mine. Ain't doing shit for nothing. But what do you got, Mr. Pibbs?
All right. Another thing I wanted to add, like people that want to throw the hang that friendship over your head, saying, "Oh, I did this such and such for you," even though you did it one time and I did multiple, and they want to threaten that friendship. If you threaten that friendship, then you're not my friend. Yeah.
Well, you're not good friends either. I'm not going to go on a rant with this, but you're not good friends either if you've got the kind of friend that will throw you under the bus in front of other people. If they make you look bad in front of other people, whether they make you look thirsty, whether they make you look broke, whether they make you look needy, if they compromise your integrity in any way, shape, or form, no matter how long y'all know one another, that is a bad friend. They're being a bad friend. They could have been a good friend more often than they're a bad friend. But when you get in front of other people, if they are deliberately embarrassing you and insulting you and ruining your character in front of people you don't even know, especially people that you may be interested in, or business opportunities that you may be interested in, if they're selling you out unnecessarily, that is not a good friend. So, I mean, you talk about people that are threatening your friendship, the things that do, because they got people who do that. They got the kind of people who will lend you money when you need money. And then when you sitting there in a restaurant having a conversation with the waitress and you think, oh, she might be cute. And then your friends start talking about how you a broke ass nigga and you always got to give them money. You got friends like that. And I said this at the beginning of the show. Some of your best friends can be your worst enemy, because since they know your deepest, darkest secrets, they can burn you at the most inconvenient time. And it doesn't always ruin the friendship, but it does fuck up your opportunity. You might have wanted to talk to this person. You might have wanted to make a new connection, whether it turned into a relationship or whatever, whether it turned into a new business deal. Your friend could burn your bridge. You see it on social media all the time, where these boys walk up and talk to the female and ask, oh, can I date your friend? And the girl blocking. No, you can't, because he didn't want you. He wants the girl standing next to you. You're going to tell him that he can't have the girl standing next to you, because she don't want you to be with her. She wants you to be with the one that you asking, not the one that you want. And because you don't want the one that you asking, the one that you asking is going to stop you from getting the one that you want. That's a bad friend. And if you see that, you got to be able to pull your friend aside and say, hey, look, our friendship is not going to be about that. You're not throwing me up under no bus. You're not making me look bad. You're not trying to embarrass me. If you're doing that, you're being a terrible friend. So if you recognize that, then you got to stop and rethink. Like, why the fuck are you doing that? Why the fuck are you subconsciously or consciously sabotaging your friend's integrity in front of other people? Because good friends and great friends do not do that. They do not sell their friends up the river. They don't make them look bad. They don't jeopardize them. They don't loan or front you anything just so that they can brag about it in front of other people to make it seem like you're financially challenged and they got it to give to you like you're a charity case. No friend should treat you like a charity case. No friend should treat you like a financial burden. And no friend should make it seem like you are a financial burden to them in front of other people. That is not good friends. So almost turned it to a spiel, but I just wanted to throw that out there in line with what you had to say.
A good example, like one of my friends, I almost said it. One of the people that were close to being an associate, he wanted to throw shade, say, "Oh, if you don't do this for me, it's over." I'm like,
hold on, close to being an associate? I only got questions. What you mean close to being an associate? Because I mean, you start off like we barely know each other. I know your name, you know my name.
Yeah, we're in the same place. We barely know each other.
Y'all are in the same location on a regular basis, or y'all in the same situation?
We take a few seconds to talk if we
have time. So that's a locational friend because y'all see each other in this particular location on a regular basis, and y'all communicate with one another. That's a situation. That's a locational friend. And that's not an acquaintance. An acquaintance is somebody that you never talk to, but you just know that they exist in that area. An associate is somebody that you have to interact with because you have to in that situation, but y'all don't really talk about anything other than that situation. Like, so an acquaintance is like you're in a board meeting, the guy 3 seats down, y'all are in the same board meeting, y'all are acquaintances, y'all know about each other, y'all don't talk to one another unless y'all talking about what's in that meeting. No, that's an associate. So an acquaintance is more to the lines of, like I said before, y'all know about each other. Y'all are
we know
in the same room, but y'all don't communicate. So if y'all communicate with one another, y'all make time to communicate with each other. Like if y'all see each other in the same room, y'all make y'all way to one another to start talking. That is a locational friend.
I'll take it as that, but
well, you don't have to, but that's how you value people. The level of value there. So since y'all do make it a point to communicate with one another, you're more than an acquaintance and you're more than an associate. But they're not valuable enough to give them shit until they come to tier 4. So even if y'all hung out in multiple different places where y'all met up to hang out in multiple different places on a tier 3 friendship, they still are not worthy of getting a fucking dollar from you until they're willing to sacrifice themselves for you.
He said he was bringing a favor that he did for me. I'm like, bro, all you did was help me with my homework. That was it. There was no, and I paid you for that. I gave you money. It was not
transaction. That's a tier 3 transactional.
Yeah. I was like a customer. I'm not even a friend. I'm a customer.
That's a tier money. Wait. Okay, let me dial it back. So you needed him to help you with your homework. He told you that he'll do it for a price.
Yes.
That's business. That's not a favor.
Yeah, we're not even friends. That's why I say he's an associate. I see you. I acknowledge your presence. I use you for something that I need to get. And that was it. There was no like solid foundation. We didn't say, oh, how's your such and such? How's your you didn't ask me how I'm doing in life. We didn't do that. We just came up.
So what did he want from you in return?
He wanted me to help him buy a car.
I'm like, that's like tier 7. You are on like tier 2, tier 3 right now. Because like when he at first I thought
I wouldn't say I had it like that, but I had come to the points of getting it like that.
Don't matter, bro. If you had 50 grand in the bank where you could have bought his car cash up front and he just paid you back in like installments or whatever, don't change nothing. Fact is that the boy was able to do something for you for a price that was transactionally equivocal to the request that you were asking of him. Situation balanced out. He didn't do you a favor where he owed you one. Now, same thing. He's asking you to put your name down on a car that for 5 years or more that he would have to make the payments on. And if he doesn't make the payments on that car, you have to make the payments on that car. That is not the same.
Yeah, it's not
because
the same.
that is not the same.
The same.
That is not. I'm not even going to say that's fair. I'm not going to say that's balanced. I'm just saying that's not the same. You don't have that to do. But at the same time, you know, if you are in a position where you needed, you know, $2,000-$3,000 to do something, and he had that $2,000-$3,000 to give, then that might kind of be on the same level. But y'all would have been tier 5, tier 6, tier 7 friends. Y'all not up there. Y'all are in like a tier 1, tier 2 kind of situation where if you need some information on how to accomplish a task, he will get you that information for a price. He might do it for you in different locations, which is why I said that he might be a tier 3 situation, because y'all know one another on a tier 2 situation, locational. But if y'all do that in different places, like he might know you in school, but y'all might hang out at the bar or the club or at the park or some shit like that. You might be like a tier 2 or tier 3 situation. But if y'all just socialize at the school, you're a tier 2 situation, and the tier 2 situation is transactional. So you needed help with your homework, he would do it for a price. Transactional. Tier 2, he needs a co-signer on his car. You need 10% of the price of the car. Transactional. That way, if you default on the car in some way, shape, or form, you can put payments on the car out of the money he gave till he can get his money back. If he can't front you some cash, he can't afford to put a down payment on the car. He can't afford to put a down payment on the car. Why the fuck are you co-signing on it? Get his mama to take care of it. That's what family's for. Co-sign on cars. That's what I said. Then family is up there like tier 7, 8, 9. So his ass ain't up there. Yeah. Favor for a favor.
And then he started arguing with me. I'm like, hey, I like, bro, you could throw that friendship away. Well, I even told him that, look, bro, that's not even friendship. We were just doing a business transaction. That's what it is. We're not even friends. We're just people that know each other. Not even friends. There's nothing in it. And he was throwing, man, F you, you're gonna regret this. I'm like, no, I won't. No, I won't. I have many people that threaten me saying that, I was gonna regret this, or you're gonna cost our friendship. I'm like, I legitimately do not care.
Well, they do have people that are very.
I was alone when I came to this earth. I will be alone almost to the day I die. I don't.
There are people that are emotionless and heartless, and those when it comes to social interaction, and you don't really realize the magnitude of your behavior until the situation has already resolved itself, and that lack of concern could be detrimental, because in the long term, it would negatively impact you in some situations. But
I wouldn't say it wouldn't impact me. If people that are close to me that threaten me about it, I'll be sad. I will really wish you wouldn't. But if it really came down to it, and you really
put that, you're still breathing after the fact, so it's not going to change.
I honestly would detach myself. If you're willing to go that far to like throw that in my face, I'm gonna be honest. It will cost you. It will legit cost you more than it will cost me.
Well, it really depends on the person, because you have to really understand though, when it comes down to friends, if you've got really good friends, really good friends, that's telling you that your actions and or behaviors are leading them to starting to reconsider the friendship, then you have to reevaluate how you behave, because when people are using you to accomplish their agenda, and they're telling you that, you know, oh, if you don't give me this money, or if you don't do this task for me, then we're not good friends. That's using you for your effort. But if somebody says that I don't like the way you talk to me, I don't like the way you treat me, I don't like the way you behave in my presence, I don't like the way you compromise my integrity or my self-worth and my self-value, and if you don't stop doing that, then we can't continue being friends, that is not the same. So it really depends on what they're saying that is costing the jeopardization of the friendship, not the fact that they're saying that the friendship is on the fence. Because if the friendship is on the fence because you are mistreating them, then you have to change. If the friendship is on the fence because they're not getting the resources from you that they want, then they should not have been considered a friend to begin with.
And for those that And I do measure that out.
That actually applies to relationships as well, romantic relationships. So if you're having that conversation with your girlfriend or your boyfriend, and they're telling you that the way you treat them is going to make them break up with you, then you need to change your behavior. But if she's telling you that she's going to break up with you because you're not buying her what she wants you to buy or taking you to the place that she wants to go, then you got to break up with her because she's a gold digger. She's just going to use you. But what were you saying?
But if that situation does happen, when if I got into that specific situation, that I did something that hurt them, I would sit there and talk. We would sit there and talk about what happened, how that situation gone to be, and if I don't see the reason why that makes, or you didn't give me enough reason that made sense, then I will just have to say, I'm sorry. We have to split. Because if I see something that I did and that you did to me and I did the same thing to you and you got mad over it, that's a problem. Because we
that's not uniform. If you did it to me, then I should be able to do it to you.
If you did, because the only way I'm going to treat you that way is because we did that. You did the same thing to me. I'm not going to do that to any. And if it's some issue that I know it's not true, you have to pick that. Tell me that time that you gotta have to catch me at that time and say, hey, yo, I know we've been joking around, we're cool, but that situation was kind of not all that cool. Can you dial it back for this situation? I'll be like, okay, I'm very sorry for that. I didn't know, and I will apologize and I will correct myself. And when I'm in social occasions, I don't really even like talking to people. I usually be in my own corner, and they will even ask me, "Hey, is your bro okay?" He said, "Yo, no, he's fine. He just he is in his own world. You if you want to approach him, you can approach him, but I'm gonna be sitting in my own corner, in my own world until someone wants to interact with me. If they interact with me, they interact with me. But even then, I don't talk bad about my friends behind their backs. I never done that before. I don't do that because it's not right. It's not just. If someone and if they say, "Oh, someone said you told this to me," I'll tell them to point them out. Show me the person that said that, and he has to say it to my face because he knows it's not true. I never done that to people. I never threw someone under the bus before. I never have, and I never. Even when you're bad to me, I don't do that. I will never do that. And that's just not just me being a friend. That's just me being a person. I don't do that to people, even though you're being bad to me. I don't treat you that way, and I don't expect you to treat me that way. And now, if we don't come to that agreement and we have to part ways, we part ways. I'm sorry, I can't do it. We are just two different people, and I'm sorry for that. I hope for the best for you.
I'm not sorry, and we ain't that different. If your ass ain't treating me the way I want to be treated, you just not gonna be on my team. You're gonna get kicked off because if you not doing what the boss wants you to do at work, you get fired. If you're not performing the way the coach wants you to perform, you get cut. If you are not going to be on my team performing the way I need my team to perform, you are not going to be on my team for very long. Because the people on my team is going to benefit from being on my team, and I don't want nobody that's going to benefit from me not being able to benefit me. So I have to make sure that if you're going to be able to benefit from me, that I got to be able to benefit from you.
That reminds me, I have this. This is going to make you laugh because this is a person that talks about relationships, but he got himself screwed.
Okay, that happens.
So I just saw this on Facebook, TikTok. So Steve Harvey is usually known for his relationship advice, what you have to do to please your woman, or what kind of situation that what guys have to do. But way he talks is more leaning over to the female side, and so
of course, because that's how you get views.
And that leaves unsightly comments on social media, made him like he's whipped or he's on a leash, and he said, no, that's not true, and all that stuff. He does sometimes react to it, but after his current time, uh, he finally admitted it because his wife slept with their bodyguard, and
Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah, that made that. I was like,
I mean,
well, we
Mr. Osley and R. Kelly tried to warn you about that. Like,
bro, I know that's bad and that sucks, but we told you since day one your wife is going out.
It ain't even bad because Kelly tried to warn you. He was in the desert telling you no, and you didn't listen on the low. And then he did a remake of the shit and did it a second time. And you still ain't catch on that you was not supposed to put no bodyguard. That's no dude on your female. You better go find you some Charlie's Angels to guard your chick. You put a grown ass dude. Dudes are dudes. It don't matter whether they on your payroll or not.
And that's
dudes
not just one friend. Those are two friends. They say his bodyguard was his close friend. And then you got your significant partner, which was supposed to be your soulmate, your person that you're supposed to share everything with.
But the thing is that okay, it's terrible if people say don't do business with friends because when the business goes south, you lose your friendship, and that's true. Thing about it is, you can't get your friend a job with you because if your friend don't act right, that's gonna fuck your friendship up. If your friend make you look bad at work, that's gonna make you and your friend not be on good terms for a long ass time. The fact is that if your friend needed a job, you should not have made him your bodyguard. Your friend need a job, you help your friend get a job somewhere else because you've got influence. If he's a bodyguard, have him guard somebody else's body. But as a man, you are not supposed to have a man guard your woman. You get a woman to guard your woman. Get a woman with a Glock switch to guard your woman. But don't get a man to guard your woman because you have to remember that women are going to want a higher valued man that's got more money and more status. But women are also going to want that man to instinctively be able to protect her as well as provide for her. And women are multifaceted. So they don't give two shits if one man is providing for them and the other man is protecting them. But they will smash both of those men. So if you are going to have somebody protect her, your personality, your ego, your integrity would be less damaged if she was sleeping with the female bodyguard where you could join in. Whereas if you put a dude on that situation, that you are going to be heavily insulted. You are going to be heavily betrayed. And then by this being your best friend, the other issue you have with best friends, typically some of you become best friends because y'all have the same taste and shit. Which means that if you like the same kind of bitches that he like, you marry a bitch that he would have done something to. Out of respect for you for the longest period of time, he would not do stuff with your bitch. But the problem that you're going to have is that when you put him on the payroll, you are no longer talking to him like your friend. Y'all are not on the same level no more. Now you are talking down to him because you have to pay him to get stuff done. Now he is going to lose respect for you the way you lose respect for your boss. Then he has no problem with smashing your girlfriend or your wife. So it is not a good idea to make your homeboy the bodyguard of your wife. If your homeboy has a social interaction style relationship with your girlfriend or your wife, you should not have your homeboy give your girl a ride home. Y'all, they don't know one another. That might be okay. But if they know one another, because y'all are all in the same social group, she should not get in a car with him. Temptation should not be allowed. Because unless you're testing them to see if you can trust them for whatever reason, which that only going to go so far until they betray your trust, you should not put yourself in a position where your significant other can betray you with some of your closest constituents inside of your network. That should never be a thing. So I would be honest with you. If I had Steve Harvey money, I would have an all-female staff. I would have an all-female staff. I would have not one male on my payroll. Call me sexist. I will pay the penalty. I'm not hiring no dudes. Why? Because we not arguing over shit. And you not smashing my chick. My problems are solved now. If I got 25 women on my payroll and all of them is doing what the fuck I want, y'all can take turns taking days off because your stomach hurt. I don't give a fuck, long as the work get done. But you put 2, 3, 4 dudes in there and you start challenging my authority, and I gotta bust heads or cut payroll. Nah, that's all right. Dudes will get revenge on you, smash your chick. Your girl, the females are gonna do what you tell them to do and take that money, or they're gonna quit if you're not giving them the right kind of money, if you're not respecting them and treating them the way that they expect to be treated. But you are not gonna have as much conflict when you are the only alpha in the group. And when you're paying these female salaries, they're not going to try to be alphas. They're going to take that money. You already seen it. We talk about it on the show on a regular basis. A woman will do what she's told for minimum wage by a man before she does what she's told by the man that pays for her entire standard of living. The man that's spending the most on her, she won't respect him. But the man that's giving her a little bit of money by the hour to do what the fuck he say, she will respect that man. So you would do better hiring 30 women to fuck with your operation and just don't treat them bad than you would do with hiring 10, 15 men to handle your operation, because men are going to be driven to get more resources. They don't have enough resources, so they're going to want more resources. So what are they going to do to get more resources? Steal it from you. They're going to knock you off. Rebellions are going to happen mostly from men who want more out of the deal. You see a game that's doing successful, they getting theirs, everybody getting their share. They feel like you're getting more than them and they're doing most of the work. They're going to come and knock you off. They're going to come and take over. That's what men do. But you get a hierarchy of just women. The women are going to turn their back on you when you stop prioritizing them. Long as you prioritize them, no matter how many extra women you add to the ticket, as long as you keep prioritizing them, they will keep prioritizing you. But a man, no matter how much you prioritize him, if he feels like he's not getting enough resources, he will betray you. So if his paycheck ain't high enough, he done fucked your wife. That is not why I'm not having dudes on my payroll. So Steve Harvey fucked up there. So Harvey, my advice to you, if you watch my podcast today, hire females. All females. And then give them 12 months maternity leave. That way, matter of fact, give them 90 days paid time off. That way, when they get on your fucking nerves, you can tell them, take a break. And since you ain't cut off their financial standard of living, when they come back, they're going to show you some damn respect. Or you give them a severance package. You know, that's how that needs to work out. But when it comes down to dudes, you tell a dude to take a break, he'll break your face or break your car. That's not, we ain't going down that path. All female staff.
Especially your age, you can't even walk straight.
But see, like, but Harvey does what a lot of the male podcasts do in order to get views, which is why podcasts like this one and podcasts like Fresh and Fit take a lot longer to get off the ground. They play to the female mindset, and by playing to the female mindset, you can get hundreds of thousands of followers because women have more time to watch TV than men. Men are out there grinding to get a bag. Women are grinding to get a bag, but women are not working as much as men, as long as men, as hard as men on a regular basis, which is why there isn't an actual wage gap. There is just a predominant observation that women are bringing home probably 25 cents on the dollar less than what men are bringing, because men are working harder and longer on more difficult, higher paying jobs than what women are willing to work on. But they just look at the overall statistics that because the average man is making 25 cents on a dollar more than the average woman across the board, that there's an alleged wage gap. But there isn't a wage gap. You just don't want to do the work. You want to do easy work, lightweight work, mental work, You want to be caregivers. You want to take care of people. You want to do stuff that's in the humanities departments. And men are doing backbreaking labor. They're breaking their spine, breaking their knees. They're doing work in dangerous locations like oil rigs and oil refineries. They're doing tech jobs and stuff like that. You're working in a nursing home stuff. So the difference between those two types of jobs is a pay scale. And then on top of that, you can move up into the company on those harder, more difficult jobs that men are doing, because there's still a requirement for women to get, they're supposed to have so many women in different levels of management on those companies. So you just have to work for that company for a short period of time, and you're already an assistant manager or shift supervisor or general manager of the oil rig. But, you get into the nursing home, you stay the intro level nurse for like 5-6 years, because there is no requirement, because it's predominantly women. You know what I'm saying? So, that's that issue there. But the thing about it is that his podcast, it caters to women so that he can have a larger following. And then by catering to women and having that larger following, he can have his 1.5 million fans, where 75% of them are women, and the other 25% of them are men staring at women and then learning something along the way. You get a podcast like this one that is 84% men. It's a smaller podcast, but 84% men. Big difference. You get like the Whatever podcast. It's going to probably be 65% men, because some women are going to come in there and bash the podcast because of the way the podcast is formatted. The other group is going to be learning from it. But majority of the men are going to be there staring at the women that are on the podcast. And then some of them are going to be talking bad about the stupid stuff that the women say while they're on the podcast. So, but it's still going to be an influx where podcasts that talk about the inequality that doesn't favor men are not going to get as much views as a podcast that talks about how women either can get over on men, can manipulate men, can control men, or how women should be more idolized and more treated. If you do a podcast that talks about how men ain't shit, all the women will jump on that podcast. You do a podcast that say that women need to improve the way they're treating men. You're not even saying that women ain't shit. You're just saying that women need to improve how they treat a man. And they will devalue that podcast, demasculate him. They will man shame him for the rest of the existence of that podcast. They may even go so far as to try to get that podcast canceled. But they won't recognize that how they treat men is incorrect. Then when they start wondering why they're having trouble finding men, they're going to blame men and say that men are insecure. They're going to say that men have emotional issues, that men are traumatized, that there's something wrong with the man's childhood. They're going to continuously blame somebody else, but they're not going to first person accountability recognize that they're in the situation they're in because of how they treat other people, the bad choices that they make when they're in relationships, their poor taste in people because they choose people that are not good for them, as opposed to the fact that they also reject people that will be a good partner to them. And they will prefer to get somebody who will give them that fantasy lifestyle that they want. And then they don't accept the person that will respect and appreciate and value them the way they need. And then when they reach that 35, 45, 55 years old, and they got to put themselves on a local X-lister site and advertise that they would do something strange for free, if not pay you for it, just so that they can get some sexual attention, that's when they realize that they're already over the hurdle. But they're going to blame men and say that men ain't shit and they don't need no man and they can do it all by themselves. But when you get lonely, ma'am, that emotional well runs dry. You don't have any men in the friend zone that you're not willing to give a chance to. That's when you're going to be sitting over there wondering, what the fuck happened? No dudes talk to me. I'm attractive. But if you got a piss poor attitude, you can be Beyonce and Nicki Minaj, but your piss poor attitude is not going to go that far. No matter how fine Beyonce is, if Beyonce talked to me reckless the way she was talking reckless to that woman at the Grammys, bro, we would not be in a relationship for very long because me and Chris Brown got a lot of things in common. So I'll just say it. It's just the real deal Holyfield. And that's why I say that, like you brought up that like Steve Harvey's giving a lot of advice. He's giving a lot of advice to women. He's giving a lot of advice to relationships, but he's kind of giving you realization by observing your scenario and making you reflect on yourself. But he's not actually telling men to change your expectations and then stand on those expectations. And then he's not telling women to change your selfish desires and be partners in your relationship. They're saying that, you know, if he's not doing what you want, you don't need him. If he's not catering to you, you don't need him. If he's not dancing to your tune, then you don't need him. But that's not the case, ma'am. If you can't cooperate with him, he don't need you. If you're not willing to adhere to his agenda, he don't need you. You want him to pay for your wants, needs, and desires. If you're not willing to help him make the money that he's going to be using to spend on you, then he don't need you. Because if you are going to get money out of this man, if you're going to get a car, if you're going to get a house, if you're going to get a bus ticket from this man, you got to help him make the money to get it to you. If you're not willing to do that, then he don't need you, because you are a financial burden to him. And women don't want to hear that. If you are a financial burden to him, he does not benefit from having you. You benefit from having him. So he don't need you. In a symbiotic relationship, uniformity, he's benefiting from your existence. And as a result, you're benefiting from his existence. So he's funding your life and you are bringing him peace. You are taking care of the shit that he can't take care of because he's got to go make that money to take care of you. You are making sure that he doesn't fall off. He sacrifices his health. You bring him his health back up. He sacrifices his stuff. You help him replace his stuff. He's spending all this money. You help him save money. You help him make money. You are the missing link. You fill in the blanks. And if you're not willing to do that, he doesn't need you, because he could save more money if he wasn't spending money on you. He can invest more money if he wasn't spending more money on you. So if you are not willing to improve his situation, invest in your man so that your man can invest in you. The same way I said earlier in the show, invest in your friends so that your friends will invest in you. If you're not willing to do that, they don't deserve you. Mr. Peppz, what do you got?
Honestly, that really covers that on what I wanted to say. Really, people don't really know what a friend is until bad stuff happens to them, and they're gonna be like, "Oh, if I noticed this, I wouldn't have to deal with that in the long run." But like always, we have to go through life stepping on it. Until we have to go through life having to deal with it first because no one told us to, and and we hope that this show shows you guys you gotta think before you decide saying that person is your friend. This is I like to call this era the money up era 2024. Because that's what you really need to focus on this day and age is your money.
Well, there's a lot of things involved with that, because I mean this should be the self-reflection era.
Point of one of the people losing their money over, they either lose it over your girl or your friend, or people that's really fake friends.
Well, we're way more wasteful these days than what we were back in the day, and like you were about to bring on, is that we are making bad choices because we don't have proper guidance. So mentorship from father figure like people or mother figure like people that are going to teach us how to be better people, how to invest better, how to spend better, how to socially interact with people better. These people are people that we need more of, that we don't have a lot of. And that's why you mentor across as well as down, because you teach the people that are on your level how to be better at what they are, so that they can come up with you. And the people who haven't gotten to your level yet, you show them how to get to your level by showing them how to make better choices and showing them how to build a better foundation for themselves so that they can be more successful. So it is somewhat of a money up situation. And I know I have in a couple of weeks, we're going to be talking about how hustle culture can be a bad thing for you depending on how you do it. So we're going to be doing a lot of research and digging into the hustle culture, and this should be a money up culture. But the fact is while everybody is getting money and finding other ways to go get money, you have to also recognize the fact that as soon as you get the money, you spend it. And if you come across a scenario where you're getting more money, You're spending that to celebrate the fact that you're getting more money. It should not be a money up culture where we're getting our money up. It should be a financial foundation culture where you're building inheritance. You should be building wealth. You should be building financial security for yourself. So even if you don't have a legacy to give it to when you pass, because you can't take the money with you when you go, you still should be building up at your current age the level of financial security so that when you're in your 60s and 70s that you don't have to work. The government is not going to pay for your retirement. You have to understand that the United States government is cutting back on Social Security in 2 months when Project 2025 takes over. So you have to understand that you are going to be making less than $800 a month off of Social Security to live. You and one other person are going to have to shack up and live off of a $1,600 a month income in a 1-bedroom apartment so that y'all are not living under a rock. And you have to understand that inflation is going up, and the only thing that is going up with inflation is veterans benefits. Social Security is not increasing with inflation. You are not seeing a 10 to 15% increase in Social Security from inflation, and no job is offering a pension. Well, hold on. Government jobs are offering a pension, but outside of government jobs, where you work 20 years on a job, if you survive, they'll give you a retirement plan. Other jobs are not giving you a pension. They're just giving you a severance pay. You work on that job 30 years. You say the wrong thing to the wrong person, you're fired. You got a severance package where they might pay you for the next 2 months worth of unemployment, and then after that, you're done. You're broke. They're not paying for, if you work for them for 25 years and you decide that you're going to retire, they're not going to pay you for another 20 years.
Trust us.
Nobody's doing 401ks don't exist like talking about it. And those 401k, you got to remember, when you invest in stocks and bonds and stuff through your company, if you do not cash out on those stocks and bonds in your company, you do realize that there is a clause in your company that says that if your employment is spontaneously terminated for whatever reason, whether you quit or get fired, that everything that you invested into this on the job option is left with the job. So you put $1 million into your company, to the company that you work for, and you spontaneously quit without cashing out on those assets, you lose all those assets. You invest in a company, it's coming out of your paycheck, and they're putting it towards keeping the company strong. And when you quit or get fired, all of that money stays with them. So what you've got to remember is that you have to build your own personal wealth, where you have emergency funds so that you don't have to ask nobody for money. You have retirement funds so that you don't have to work until you die. And if you do not have friends on your ticket that's going to try to help you accomplish that, then you don't have good friends. And you need to find better friends. You need to spend more time socializing with friends that are going to try their best to make you financially successful, try their best to put you in a situation where you're self-sustainable, and hopefully in some situations self-employed, so that you don't have to work for somebody else, because no matter how long you work for a company, if they don't like the color shoes that's on your feet that day, they can fire you on principle alone. They do not need to fire you because you do a bad job at work. They can fire you for stuff that has nothing to do with your job or your attendance. And that quantifies you for unemployment because it is an undeserving termination. But the fact is, you still got to find you another job, and you still got to start over. So if you don't have friends on your ticket that is helping you or trying to help you be a better you and be self-sustainable, and even so be self-employed, where you work for yourself and you make money, where you're your own boss and the only person you got to satisfy is the customer. If you don't have those kind of friends, you got to find them. You got to go look for them, because otherwise you're going to forever be doing for somebody else. And you're going to recognize that no matter how nice your boss is, they're giving you their workload so that they don't have to do it. So you are making somebody else money, but you're not making yourself that much money, because you are making anybody that's not making living wage, and living wage right now is almost $30 an hour. So if you're not making living wage, which is 3 times the rent, whatever your rent is, if your rent is $3,000 a month, you're supposed to be making $9,000 a month. And if you're not making $9,000 a month, you're not making living wage. And you have to understand that $25, $30 an hour is going to give you $5,500 a month. So just do the math. If you're 4,000 short, that means you need to be making about $35, $40 an hour. And if you're making less than $20 an hour, you are not making living wage. And if you're working for somebody who's going to make it seem like they're going to do you a favor and give you a little bit over what the next minimum wage standard is going to be, they're not doing you a favor, because you're not getting another raise after that. That's going to be where you're going to be stuck at for 5 or 10 or 15 more years, unless you help them get millions of dollars in their company where they're going to get several $1,000s worth of bonuses. You might get an extra $2 to $5, but you're still going to be making less than living wage, which means that as inflation happens, as the economy continues to flourish, the demand is going to overshadow the supply. And as long as the demand overshadows the supply, you have to continue to move so that you can find a place that you can afford, because your income doesn't justify the quantity of money you have to spend, or you're going to be working 2 and 3 jobs to make ends meet, because where your first job does not pay enough, your second and third job will have to bring in the rest, or you're going to get into a bad relationship with somebody that makes enough money to cover the spread so that the two of y'all can survive together. And that's when you have those on again, off again relationships where y'all fighting at the house and arguing and fussing, but y'all don't never move out. Y'all don't never break up. Y'all got kids together, but y'all are not trying to put your time and money and effort into being self-sustainable. So you got to take a good eye on a lot of that and really recognize what you guys are trying to accomplish, because in 2024, if you're not paying attention to the right shit, you are going to sell yourself up the river, and you're going to end up in a bad situation. And it's always going to be hard. It's always going to be hard. And in 20 years, even if you make it $50 an hour in 20 years, you are still going to be working for somebody else. You're still going to be struggling to get by, and you're still going to not have enough money to take a vacation, to travel the world, to stop working for 6 months. Nobody right now in 2024 has the ability to allow the economy to stop a second time and you be able to pay your rent for 2 months without a problem. Nobody has that capability right now. Nobody has it. You have to go to work every day, because if you take 6 weeks off right now, if you take 4 weeks off, you'd be homeless. If you take 6 weeks off from work, you will be homeless. And if you don't have enough money to pay for 12 months worth of your standard of living in advance, where you don't have to worry about where your money is coming from, you're not doing good enough. And you need to do better, because what happens when you can't work? What happens when you're sick and you can't work? What happens when you get hurt and you got to take a few months off from work in order to recover? How are you going to recover if you can't miss a day from work without losing everything you got? And when you think about that, when you think about how hard that you're trying to work, and you think about the friends that you got on your plate that is doing the best that they can to help you be a better you so that you have that financial standard. If y'all not listening to the friends that's talking to y'all and giving y'all the advice that y'all need and trying to steer y'all in the direction of financial stability, and y'all not listening, when that ship sail again, look, Noah's not going to tell you to jump on the ark this time. He's going to be sailing past you. If you're not on the dock when the boat passed by, your ass is not getting on the boat. He didn't already warn you. He's like, when you see the ship coming, you better get on it. You don't get on it, that's on you. That's all I have to say about that. Mr. Peppz, do you have anything else to say before we wrap up the show tonight?
No, that's it. All I gotta say is be careful who your friends are, who you see friends that are your friends, because it won't matter until it hits the wire.
When the shit hits the fan, that's when you really know who your friends are. Loyalty is tested. Loyalty is tested in the midst of betrayal. So you know that you got a good person that you can trust when they could have fucked you over and they chose not to. But you also know that because you put that person in the opportunity to fuck you over, when they fucked you over, you did it to yourself. So you lend a friend a car and they take it and never bring it back. Hey, you gave your car away. You lend them a car, they take it, they bring it back with no gas in it. At least you got your car back. You give them a car, they bring it back with a full tank of gas in it. When they had a quarter tank of gas when they left, you can trust them with your car. That is how you develop heightened levels of trust and heightened levels of respect. Mutual respect is given. Mutual trust is given. Heightened levels of respect and heightened levels of trust is earned from you testing it. In the midst of betrayal, you give them the opportunity to fuck you over. You give somebody your wallet, and if they don't steal your money, you can trust them with your wallet. You give them the keys to your house. If they don't burn your house down, you can trust them with your house. You give somebody your kids. If your kids are still alive when you get back, you can trust them with your kids. You are not able to trust them before you give them the action where they earn the trust to do it. They didn't babysit somebody else's kids, and because nobody else's kids died, now you're bringing them your kids. You were in an emergency. You need them to watch your kids because where you go when kids can't go, and they will watch your kids until you come back. And when you come back and your kids is okay, then you can give them your kids whenever you need somebody to look after your kids. And that likewise, you give them your car because they need a car. You're hoping that the car comes back. And if the car comes back, you know that they can take the car and they'll bring the car back. But you don't know that they'll bring the car back until they bring the car back. So fact is, like I keep saying, loyalty is tested in the midst of betrayal. You loan somebody money, you can't guarantee that they're going to give you the money back until they give you the money back. You can't trust them to promise you something until they have carried out their promise. And the difference between somebody that you can count on versus somebody that you can't is somebody that you can count on more often than not succeeds. The person that you can't count on more often than not fails. So if somebody says, I'll get you back the money, the more often they get you back the money, the one time that they can't get you back the money, it's a one-off. The person that says that I'll get you back the money, the more often they don't get you back the money, the one time they get you back the money, it's a one-off. More often than not, I can't count on you to bring the money in. So I can't put this money on you, at least not today, not this week, not this month. But those people that you can trust, that you can count on, that'll always come back. Like, yeah, I could put a large stack on you. I could probably even give you my rent money if I know that on average that you get it back to me before my rent is due, because you've already earned that by maintaining it after I gave it to you when I needed it, and you gave it back to me before I fell off. But you should not put yourself in that position. You should never put yourself in a position where you are sacrificing yourself on a request from somebody who has not offered to sacrifice themselves for you first. If they're not volunteering their ability to sacrifice themselves for you, then you should not be getting asked from them to make a sacrifice from you. If they don't know what kind of life you live in, and they don't know if their request will negatively impact your position where you got to suffer until they catch you back, they should not ask. And if they ask and you do it because you are sacrificing yourself, they should not just give it back to you dollar for dollar. They should give it back to you with interest. They should give it back at least 20 to 30% interest. You should turn a profit off of the fact that you sacrificed yourself for this person, because the next time that they ask is going to be more than what they asked for the first time. It's never going to be less. If they ask you for $50 this time, they're going to ask you for $200 next time. They asked you for $200 last time, they're going to ask you for $1,000 this time. If you gave them $1,000 one time, they might ask you for $2,000 next time. If you gave them $2,000 one time, they might ask you to put the down payment on their new car. It's going to always increase. It's never going to decrease. They're never going to ask you for $500 this time, and then the next time they're never going to ask you for more than $50. If they know that you'll give you at least $500, if they need $750, they'll come and tell you that they need $750 and then ask you for $500 to see how much you give them. If you give them more than $500, then they know that they can ask for more. If you tell them all I got is $200, they'll say, well, can you get the other $3? I'm gonna try, but can you get the other $3? And if you can get the other $3, they're not even gonna go get the other $3. They're just gonna say thank you. They're gonna do what they gotta do. Their stress is gone. Now you got stress on your plate until they get the $5 and bring it back and give it to you. So, with that being said, you need to reassess how you treat your friends, no matter how you gauge them. No matter how you gauge them. You can gauge an acquaintance as somebody that you hang out with. You can gauge an associate as somebody that you hang out with, but y'all not really all that close. It don't matter. Tier 4 is tier 4. Tier 4 means that you passed by them. Y'all was in a social conversation. You said that you was down on your luck and you was going through some shit, and they voluntarily gave you their resources in order to solve your situation. That is tier 4. Till they get to tier 4, I don't give a fuck what level they're at. They could be an associate. They could be an acquaintance. They could be a locational friend. They could be a situational friend. They could be a kind of sort of friend. They could be a friend with benefits. If they're not putting money and resources in your pocket, and giving you a ride is not putting money and resources in your pocket. If they're not giving you the keys to their car and saying bring it back later, you should not be giving them a ride. If they're not putting gas in your car, if they're not buying you lunch, they should not be asking you for food. If they're not offering to pay your bill because you said that your bill is due and you don't get paid till next week and you don't got the money to pay for it, you just going to have to deal with the late fee. If they're not giving you money for your light bill so that you don't got to pay for the late fee, then they can't come and ask you for money. If they're not offering themselves to you, you should not be offering yourself to them. They should not be asking you for anything. And they should not come to your house with drama. If they're not coming to your house before drama to give you money or give you stuff or just to say thank you, just put this big bag of something on you, then they should not be coming to your house with a problem. If they're not bringing positive and investing in you, you got to invest in the pot before you get money out of the pot. You got to pay taxes in order for the government to have money to give you government funded projects. If nobody pays in the taxes, the government does not have money to do government programs. So you got to put into the pot before you get out of the pot. And you have to remember that no matter what tier they're on, even if they're on a tier 8, even if they're a 9 or a 10 out of 10, if they're not putting into the pot, if they have not been putting into the pot, they cannot continue to ask you out of the pot. They got to start putting into the pot at some point in order to keep the situation afloat. Because if not, the bubble will burst like MC Hammer, and everybody involved will all be fucked over, including the person that's asking, because the person that's asking needs more than the person that's doing. When the person that's doing falls off because the person that's doing ran out of resources, the person that's asking also runs out of resources because they was getting their resources from you. So if they're not going to keep you with resources, if they're not going to keep you as an asset, investing in you so that when they need something, they can get it from you, then they're going to parasite off of you. And then they're not going to benefit you at all. And that's going to negatively impact you, which will trickle down and negatively impact them. So that's all I have to say for today. So, ladies and gentlemen, we really appreciate you hanging out with us. This is, we're starting to do an average. 2 hours, 37 minutes. We really appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Gonna sign out of TikTok first. Ladies, I keep telling y'all every day, every week, as long as the situation doesn't make sense, I want y'all to make it make sense. So ladies, make it make sense. And for the rest of you guys that are still here on This and That, we really appreciate y'all coming to the show. We really appreciate the loyalty, the dedication. We really appreciate we had a couple people sign on during the show. I thought that was a great idea. I really appreciate you guys for coming through. And we're going to see you tomorrow night. We're here live 7 nights a week, 9 Eastern, 8 Central, 5 Pacific. I keep forgetting what Pacific time is because, there is the 2-hour difference between Central and West Coast when it's a mile away from one another, but it's a 2-hour difference. Like, what the fuck? All right.
But wherever you're at, it's going to be 9 or 8 o'clock. That's when we start.
Unless you're in California, then we start at 5. That's why I said. That's why I had to stop and think. I'm like, wait, what?
4 hours.
That's what. No, that's what I'm saying. Like, so it's.
Maybe you could just say universal time. If you say universal time,
nobody knows what universal time is. Nobody knows what universal time is. Primarily, the largest part of the country. So the largest part of the country is Central Time, and then the East Coast is 1 hour before that, and the West Coast is 2 hours after that. And it's strange because the California is 3 hours behind Florida, but California is. But California is 2 hours behind Alabama. California is 2 hours behind Texas, but it's 3 hours behind Florida. Because there's an hour difference between Florida and Texas, because Texas is central and Florida is eastern. There's an hour difference between Florida and Texas, but there's a 3 hour difference between Florida and California. So there's a 2 hour difference between Nevada and California. That make no fucking sense. Like, so if I cross the border, it's daylight savings time, motherfucker. But that's all I got for y'all. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining This and That. I'm your host, Xander, and this is Mr. Peppz, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between. Y'all have a good night.
All right, take it easy.